Okay, so before this video starts, I just wanna say that this isn't my story. It's a fanfic. The link will be in the description, which will have other links as well. Also, with these videos I don't listen to the videos I upload, so if there is anything that is too bad or explicit for YouTube, then let me know and please timestamp it. Anyways, let's get into the video.
Hello?
Anime demigod.
Here?
Minato and his team headed in the direction he sensed Obito's chakra in. Despite now having the Sharingan, Kakashi had no idea how to use it and still needed to recover from the transplant before he could even see out of the thing. When they finally did catch up, they were all in for a bit of a shock. Naruto, are you sure that it's okay to move him? I mean, according to the report you read, he died during this mission, said the girl. From what Minato could tell, she was a Hyuga, though he could be mistaken. Look, I don't care about history being tweaked. I mean, according to what I know from the records, that egg was reclaimed, yet here we are retrieving it before the legendaries could do it. And if Celebi didn't want us to change the past, then it wouldn't have sent us to this time, said Naruto, who had blonde hair and was checking the still out cold Obito without chakra. He has a point, Hinata. But before we settle in, can you check for any IWA ninja? We're still in enemy territory, even if we mostly pass leaf headbands for the past 10 minutes, said the third shinobi, Anakamichi. Byakugan, said the girl. She stiffened and immediately looked in the direction of Minato and his team. Shit. There's enemy ninja nearby, aren't there? Said Naruto. Hinata nodded, and pointed in their direction. How close? Close enough to hear us. I think they aren't hiding their chakra very well. Naruto sighed. Time to spam some clones. Several shadow clones were created and immediately dispersed. Because of the blonde's obvious familiarity with the forest, Minato didn't see them until it was too late. Shit, he cursed quietly. Naruto suddenly stood up, as he got the information from the clone Minato had just dispelled. Come on out or face the wrath of the EV, he called out. Minato and his team reluctantly came out of the trees. He heard the gasp of the Hyuga and the Akimichi and the widening of the eyes of the blonde. And the quiet gasp of shock from his own team. It's a mini-sensei, said Rin in shock. Just to be clear here, are you in fact Minato Namikaze, Rin, and Kakashi? Said the blonde. Yes. Are you three really Leaf Ninja? He said suspiciously. Born and raised. Hell, these two are clan heirs for Kami's sake, said the blonde proudly. Name and rank, said Minato. Hinata Hyuga. Genin. Stammered the girl. Akimichi Chuji. Genin, said the rather large boy. Uzumaki Naruto. Chunin and future Hokage, believe it, said the blonde. V. And shifter. Sorry buddy, amended the blonde. The EV jumped onto his head and stayed there with ease. Why did you take Obito? Asked Minato. Because if we hadn't, he would be dead. I read the mission report about the destruction of the bridge, and it clearly stated deceased. No way in hell am I letting a fellow Leaf Shinobi die when I have the supplies and experience to do something about it. Tsunade didn't train me to avoid healing those who need it, said Naruto proudly. Minato could already feel a headache coming on. He did however note that the kid clearly knew exactly what he was doing, like the breeder pin wasn't a big clue to that, and that he had the right tools for it too. Namely everything one would need in extreme emergencies in the field to treat odd injuries, like say several tons of rock pinning nearly half your body. Obito apparently lucked out in that, as he had been pinned not crushed. Somehow the rocks had landed in such a way that it wouldn't have killed him, but kept half his body trapped. When Minato heard the blonde's request for the Flying Thunder God, and not believing the kid when he said that he had a knack for seals, he decided to humor the boy. Imagine his shock when the blonde managed to actually pull it off, and then proceeded to demonstrate a fully complete raise-non. Still, he was pretty pissed when said blonde managed to slip something into their drinks to knock them out for an hour, by which time they were gone with Obito. He never did find out where they came from, aside from actually being Leaf Ninja, or where they took his student. As such, Obito was still labeled dead in the rock slide. It wasn't like he could explain about children from the future rescuing the oddball Uchiha, and he half believed it to be a dream thanks to the concoction the kid slipped into his drink anyway. When they reached the same area they were originally taken from, Chuji had captured 3 new Pokemon he normally wouldn't have, in addition to the Makahita Naruto helped him get. Flaffy, Fanfi and a Swinub who was very far away from Snow Country. How it got there Naruto had no idea. Hinata managed to get a Corsola in addition to the new Zorua egg, as well a Ditto that Naruto had no interest in. Obito was still out cold, mostly because Hinata made sure of it. His seal balls were still on him, and from what Naruto could tell the kid only had two anyway. An Apom and a Torchic. Celebi appeared before them and gave Naruto a look. Shifter turned into a spion in order to translate. You were only supposed to get the egg. If you legendaries believe I'll let a fellow leaf ninja die when I could have done something, then you better think again, said Naruto. Bye. Yes, but now history will change. Are you ready to deal with the consequences of rescuing this Uchiha? Screw history. I don't believe in fate, and if you didn't want us to change it you shouldn't have taken us to the near past, said Naruto firmly. His arms were starting to hurt from carrying the unconscious Uchiha. Celebi looked Naruto in the eye, before sighing. The light of time travel enveloped them, and they vanished back into their own time. Naruto had no idea what he had done by convincing them to rescue this particular Uchiha. Naruto and his team completed the inspection in record time, having his shadow clones carrying the out-cold Uchiha. Because his chakra hadn't recovered, the Umbu didn't notice him when they came to get Naruto's report on the trip. Tsunade would not be happy when she learned what exactly happened. You mean to tell me you three went all the way back to the Third War, and brought back someone who was legally declared dead? She shrieked. The boy in question was in the intensive care under Shizun's watch. While Naruto had treated the boy as best he could, the kid still needed a lot of help before he could safely be allowed to wake up. Look, as far as I can tell, aside from rescuing him we didn't change a thing. All we did was retrieve the second Zorua egg that the Uzumaki clan was researching and return to where we were dropped off. True, but do you have any idea how much paperwork I have to fill out to make him a shinobi on the payroll? Can't you just use shadow clones? Asked Naruto. Tsunade was about to berate him, when she realized he had a point. Just to be clear Uzumaki, when that boy wakes up he is your responsibility. You brought him to the present, you have to get him back up to speed. Yes Baa-chan, said Naruto. Compared to what she could have done, he was getting off relatively light. The first moment Obito knew something was wrong was the fact he woke up to the hospital ceiling and not the stars. In fact it was daylight, and it should have been night. That and he distinctly remembered having his chakra cut off while he was half awake, which led to him being knocked out again. The fact he wasn't dead and was in a real hospital also didn't help. The last thing he could remember clearly was the rocks falling and giving Kakashi his eye. After that, nothing. A woman walked in, clearly an experienced nurse. She checked his vitals before sending someone to retrieve the Hokage. He subtly relaxed when he heard that he was in the Leaf Village. Why else would they call for the Hokage? He recognized who it was too, though he wondered when Tsunade had taken up the post when his sensei was the one who was most likely to be chosen. She hadn't expressed any interest in the post before now. What happened? Where am I? Asked Obito. First off, you are in the Konoha intensive care unit. You were lucky one of my students happened to be nearby in time to save you. You were pinned by nearly 3 tons of rock and his team was in the area for a different mission. They managed to keep you alive long enough to get you here. Second, you should know that the war is over, and Konoha won. Third, out of Team Minato, only you and Kakashi Hatake are still alive. Your teacher and your third member were killed due to certain circumstances, said Tsunade calmly. What? How long has the war been over? What happened to Minato-sensei and Rin? The war has been over for well over a decade. Minato died protecting the village from Abijuyu and Rin, well, she snapped and tried to kill his son. Kakashi was forced to take her out. Obito sagged in shock. His teacher dead, and Rin killed by Kakashi to protect his teacher's son. Now, before we go any further, I need to go over a few things. Just a formality really, but you were legally declared dead during that last mission you took and in order to put you back on the mission roster I need you to help me fill these out. After that, once you recover enough to leave, you'll be staying in a familiar setting. Where? He asked. Your teacher's old house. His son recently bought it and has said you are more than welcome to stay with him until you are ready to deal with being in another time. You won't have to take any missions until you're ready. Obito was numb as he answered all the questions Tsunade asked. Most were standard ones, but some were rather personal and he blushed as he answered. It took a week before he was declared fit to leave the hospital on his own feet, but he was still too injured to take any missions. He was officially on paid leave. Obito made his way to his sensei's old house, noting that the seals had been updated since he was last there. Several people who knew him actually stared in shock, before trying to dispel a genjutsu that wasn't there. He knocked on the gate slowly, trying not to fall over. Tsunade apparently believed it would be easier for him to recover in familiar settings rather than the hospital, since most ninja hated it there. The gate slowly swung open, and a familiar Ninetales allowed him to lean against it all the way to the nearest spot. He lay against the tree and actually fell asleep in the warm sunlight. He didn't wake up until the owner of the house came in with groceries and several Pokemon carrying them. Apparently he believed in buying in bulk. The kid was wearing an ungodly amount of orange and he had sun-kissed blonde hair. Behind him was a Ninetales with flame-like tipped fur, an Espion levitating a large amount of food, and a girl who looked identical to him carrying 2 bags. Oh, and about 10 shadow clones loaded to the gills. The kid directed them all to where it would go, before he finally noticed Obito. It was like his teacher had de-aged into a 13-year-old. It was sorta creepy to be honest. Granny said you were awake. Sorry if I wasn't here to help you in, but I needed to get groceries, and the only place that doesn't overcharge me is halfway across the village. My name is Naruto, Naruto Uzumaki. Uchiha Obito, said Obito. Please tell me you aren't like the rest of the Uchiha clan before it was wiped out. Wiped out. Naruto pinched his nose. Hold on a minute. I have a book with all the recent major events so it shouldn't shock you nearly as much. Naruto came back out 5 minutes later with a book that had been published very recently. It even included the invasion of Orochimaru during the Chunin exams. Obito started reading and didn't stop until Naruto passed him a plate of food. When dinner was over, Obito was quizzed by an amused Naruto on what he had read. Once he was reasonably caught up on recent events, enough to ask what really happened to the Kyuubi and was given a rough explanation about the seal on Naruto's stomach, Obito felt numb. His entire life was literally thrown upside down, and he was in the future with little hope of returning to his own time. The only reason he hadn't freaked out completely was this. He was still alive. That rock slide should have killed him, if the shock of having his eye removed while he was awake didn't. Instead he was alive and recovering in a village that hadn't known war in over a decade. He was very lucky things had gone down in a way that he survived at all. Naruto helped him to his room. Obito had to tell him which one it was. Minato had given him and Kakashi full reign of the spare rooms they had, where Obito was out like a light. Kakashi appeared 2 days after Obito got over the shock of being in the future with his teacher and crush were dead. Naruto led him to the room and gave them some privacy while he worked on lunch. Seeing as how Tsunade had pulled him from missions until Obito had recovered enough to take on a simple D rank, they were both on paid leave. He could still train, but he had to do it within reasonable distance of the misplaced Uchiha. Kakashi came out shocked, and somewhat relieved. Obito was still in his room reading some of Naruto's pre-cataclysm books. Naruto brought him food and checked in on him several times a day, but he could tell Obito wasn't ready to leave just yet. Finally, 2 weeks since Obito was cleared to leave the hospital, Naruto almost literally dragged him out of the house to interact with the Rookie 9. Needless to say that it could have gone better than it did. Who the heck is this? Said Kiba. Everyone, remember that weird mission when Hinata, Chuji, and I went to inspect one of the civilian roads outside the village and the Umbu shuffled us off to the hospital really quickly, said Naruto. Tsunade-sama never explained why, said Sakura. That had annoyed her, as Tsunade didn't tend to hide things from her students. He is why. Meet Uchiha Obito. A kid we rescued when Celebi hijacked us in the middle of our mission and threw us into the past. And I really wish I was joking about this. Being thrown in the middle of the war between us and IWA was not my idea of fun, said Naruto dryly. Obito felt like he was being put under a microscope. It was only slightly less unnerving compared to Fugaku going over everything he did wrong on a mission. In particular was the kid who looked like an Uchiha giving him the odd look. If what he heard from Naruto was right, then this was Sasuke, the kid Mikoto Nachan had just given birth to when he left. He's still recovering from the shock of being dragged into our time, so go easy on him Ino, said Naruto. Ino, he could tell she was a Yamanaka, pouted, but she did curtail some of the questions she had. He still had to deal with the gossip princess of the village though. Finally he couldn't take it anymore as he told Sasuke, will you quit staring at me like I have 3 eyes or something? Kami, it's worse than dealing with that hard-ass Fugaku. You knew my father, said Sasuke in shock. Knew him? The man would berate me every time I came off a mission and detail everything I did wrong just because I didn't act like I had a stick up my ass like the rest of the clan and had yet to activate the stupid Sharingan, bitched Obito. Sasuke was still in so much shock that he barely twitched as Obito continued on about how annoying Itachi was and the fact that most of the clan hated him for being one of them. Finally he realized what he was dealing with. "Dear Kami, you're another Naruto, only without the freaky look," said Sasuke in absolute shock. Choji shivered. "I am never taking another mission with Naruto unless there is a Jounin to tone down the weird factor we had to deal with," he said flatly. "It wasn't that bad," said Hinata meekly. "We were thrown near the end of the Iwa/Konoha war. We ran into the 4th Hokage and had to evade several people who would kill us without a second thought simply because of our leaf headbands and rescued someone who was legally declared dead because we happened to be in the area." Shikamaru stared at Choji before he looked at Naruto. "It's official. You've broken Choji. I got this." "Obito, can you hand me that scroll labeled, 'In case of Berserk Akimichi'?" asked Naruto. Obito found and handed it to Naruto. Naruto grinned as he unsealed something behind Choji's back and opened the sealed bag. Choji's nose became hypersensitive, and he turned to Naruto with a crazed look in his eyes. "Hand it over and no one gets hurt." It was his favorite, limited edition chips, which only came out once a year. In one store that was hugely popular and he had to fight his own clan just to get any because of how good they were. He had only gotten 5 bags, because the rest were sold out. "How many of these bags would it take for you to forgive me for that nightmare of a mission in the past?" asked Naruto grinning. Choji thought it over before he held up 10 fingers. 10 bags? Deal. Naruto unsealed 10 more bags and handed them over in addition to the one Choji was already snacking on. Shikamaru shook his head in amusement. Trust Naruto to buy enough of those rare chips to pacify an angry Choji, which begged the question of why he had never considered doing the same. It certainly would have made things easier if he had. "What about you, Hinata?" asked Naruto. "Ano. I already forgave you, Naruto. You did after all give me that egg and helped me capture a Ditto, which my father really hates for some reason." Little known fact, due to the perfect transformation ability of the Ditto species, it is nearly impossible for a ninja to tell it apart from the original. As a result, it is perfect for playing pranks and framing someone else. Even the Uchiha had trouble with this Pokemon, and their Sharingan could never see through its ability to shapeshift. Probably why Hinata was having a lot of fun pranking her own council while she helped the branch house out by removing their seals. "Meh. Ditto isn't nearly as fun as Zorua," said Naruto. Ino looked at Naruto with disbelief. "I would have thought it would be your perfect Pokemon. I mean, it's near impossible to figure out a Ditto from the original unless you see it transform in front of you." "Bah, I can do that," said Naruto. "Prove it," countered Kiba. "Transform." Now there were 2 Inos. Shikamaru winced. Naruto threw down a smoke bomb, and then switched places with Ino 3 times. Ino only allowed it because she wanted to see if it worked. Obito watched with amusement as the collected genin tried and failed to figure out which was which. Finally they had Kiba try to sniff Naruto out, unaware that he had somehow copied her scent. Finally they gave up, and Naruto dispelled his henge, which for some reason was solid. Something Kiba found out the hard way when Ino punched him when he grabbed both their chests at the same time, and Naruto did it anyway. Hey, it was an excuse to hit Kiba. Finding out Naruto could essentially mimic anyone and get away with it, well, let's just say Obito's recovery time shot up when he realized the prank applications. He liked pranks, because they were his hobby. Minato didn't mind them that much, and he never dared to hit Kushina because she would give as good as she got. Poor Konoha, the chances of it surviving Naruto and a very Naruto-like Uchiha were slim to none, especially since Obito technically outranked his cousin. Tsunade looked at the current mission and twitched repeatedly. 2 teams had been sent and had returned. It wasn't exactly that hard, but the conditions apparently warranted them to return. The client in question clearly didn't know how to treat shinobi correctly if they were willing to abandon their mission. However, when she looked at the newest report of the Uzumaki/Uchiha duo and their latest prank, she had the perfect idea. They just had to pick their reinforcements, because there was no way she was sending those 2 alone. That was just asking for disaster. "Get me Naruto and Obito," she said. Shizune left to retrieve them. The look on Tsunade's face did not inspire good thoughts. "You wanted to see us, Granny?" asked Naruto nervously. Tsunade had been pissed when their last prank backfired. Relax boys, you aren't in trouble, yet. I'm just going to give you a mission so the villagers can get over your recent prank, she said sweetly. Naturally this had both boys sweating bullets. No way was Tsunade that nice, not unless it meant something horrible was about to happen to them. What sort of mission? An A rank one. Normally I wouldn't give this sort of thing to a pair of Chunin, but let's face it, any mission above D rank that you go on tends to get screwed up rather quickly. Naruto chuckled and rubbed his head. This was a known fact, and Tsunade had forms made that were now a required item if someone took a mission with Naruto that was above D rank. It basically said that the person acknowledged the risk they were taking and that any and all weirdness that occurred because of being in proximity to Naruto was not the village's fault. As a safety precaution, the client had to sign one too. Needless to say Naruto found this fact amusing as hell. It wasn't his fault things always went to hell every time he was on a mission. How many can we take? Asked Obito. You can take up to 3 others, and that doesn't include Zabuza who specifically asked to be on any missions that were above C rank that involved Naruto. Why, I have no idea, but he is coming regardless, said Tsunade flatly. According to Haku he wants to confirm the rumor that any mission above D gets shot up by 2 ranks for himself. Well, that an NC or above rank mission tends to end up with my team getting more Pokemon than they left with. I have no idea why either, said Naruto. In any event, go pick out 3 other people, said Tsunade. Where are we heading anyway? Moon Country. Now scat. Naruto found his usual friends at Yakiniku-Q, the best barbecue restaurant in Konoha. Obito was preparing for his first mission since coming to the future. He walked into the restaurant and said flatly, I have an A-rank mission to Moon Country that will last a few months, and I can take 3 people with me. Who's interested? Not it, said Chuji. No thanks, said Sasuke. I'll go, said Hinata. Yosh. Count me in on this most youthful mission, said Lee. I'm coming too. You'll need someone to keep Lee from driving you crazy, said Tenten. I am coming. If only to keep Hinata-sama out of trouble, said Niji. The rest said no to the mission, after they saw the form Naruto had to bring with him. Naruto was heading back to the mission's office when he ran into Kakashi. I heard you have a mission to Moon with Obito. If you want in, sign this form on the way to the office. We have to turn these into Tsunade before we're allowed to go, and we have to give one to the client, said Naruto flatly. He could tell why Kakashi had bothered to approach him. He didn't want to lose Obito. So we have Team Guy, Hinata, Obito, Zabuza, Kakashi, and Naruto on this mission. Everyone fill out the forms, asked Tsunade. Everyone except Naruto nodded. In that case, you leave tomorrow morning. You'll be meeting Prince Mikuru and his son on the borders of Spring Country. If you're lucky you'll catch the matinee of the new Princess Yuki movie. It finally came out, said Naruto grinning. If I were you brat, I'd hit the casinos in Moon Country if you want to keep your cut from that movie, said Tsunade with a smirk. I'll give you 5% of anything I win, so long as you keep the council from taxing me, said Naruto without thinking twice. Deal, said Tsunade. With Naruto's weird luck, 5% would pay off most her debts easily, and then some. Naruto was grinning like the Cheshire Cat when he got to Spring. The prince's caravan was waiting at the port, and once he had the form signed, the prince didn't even read the fine print to the amusement of Kakashi and Naruto. They were officially on duty. Having asked why the first 2 teams quit, Naruto sealed a ton of food for his team so they wouldn't feel so left out when they had to guard the prince and his lavish banquets without being allowed to have any themselves. Naruto had expanded on his recipe list when Obito made a random comment about how his mother used to love cooking something new and even she got tired of ramen every once in a while and she practically inhaled ramen like no one's business. So Naruto took cooking lessons from Hinata, who had infinite patience and quickly taught Naruto when food went bad. After years of practically surviving on ramen, Pokemon food, one of the few items they couldn't overcharge him on, lest they suffer the wrath of Shifter, and the occasional meal at the Inyazuka compound, he had a standing invitation there. Because of Shifter, Naruto sometimes had trouble telling when it went bad, because he had honestly eaten worse. As such, Obito was on the ground bowing to Hinata and thanking her profusely for helping Naruto learn how to cook, because he was tired of surviving on only ramen, and he actually liked ramen. Hinata actually giggled when she saw that. Naruto was grinning evilly when he entered the room with Prince Mikuru and his son. Koyuki recognized him in a heartbeat and was gaping like a fish when the prince left with Kakashi. "What the hell are you doing back here?" "I did something to piss the old lady off, and she sent me on this mission until the outcry over our last failed prank died down. The fact 2 teams quit before us didn't help either." Then he showed her the form he had Mikuru sign, and her only comment was to ask why the Hokage hadn't made that sooner. "So, any security problems we need to be made aware of?" "Just a few nobles who don't like the fact I'm downsizing the military budget to help the civilians recover faster. Your contest idea was so popular that Tsurera-san is seriously considering doing it again, since it improved morale and gave them something else to focus on instead of thinking about the fact missions would be cut down," said Koyuki blandly. "Those that do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it," said Naruto blandly. "What does that mean?" "People make the same mistakes their predecessors do. Coincidentally, we have a living piece of history on the team. Brought him directly from the end of the Third Shinobi War and he was legally declared dead until recently," said Naruto. "Please tell me you're joking." "Nope. They really should have put that form out sooner," muttered Koyuki. Yes, they should. By the way, I have your copies of the movie for you, since you came here. Be sure to pass them to your friends who came with you. Saves me a few ryo on sending it through the Delibird Express." The Delibird Express. The only neutral group in the shinobi countries. Anyone stupid enough to try and steal a package from one of the hundreds of Delibird delivery Pokemon usually suffered severe injuries and the very strong chance of being blacklisted from the service. The Pokemon had long memories. It was the safest means of sending messages, though the higher the classification the more it cost to send it. The ninja who lived in Iron Country weren't idiots. The more classified the document, the more people would try to steal it. Of course you could catch a wild Delibird, but those things were ornery on the best of days. That single thought would come back to bite Naruto in the ass much later, before they left Spring Country anyway. Shifter. Gender, male. Species, EV. Ability, changes to suit needs. Special ability, shifting into one of the evolutionary paths, barring the original 3. Level, 50. Advil, ibuprofen. Gender, male. Species, Golduck. Ability, Swift Swim. Level, 39. Kurama. Gender, male. Species, Shiny Ninetales. Ability, Flash Fire. Special ability, Synchronization with Nine-Tailed Demon Fox, dampening chakra poisoning from Kyuubi. Level, 49. Kiseki. Gender, female. Species, Absol. Ability, Pressure. Level, 38. Naru. Gender, female. Species, Zorua. Ability, Illusion. Level, 29. Ayam. Gender, female. Species, Munchlax. Ability, Pickup. Special ability, can sniff out any poison in foods. Level, 15. Tropic. Gender, male. Species, Tropius. Ability, Solar Power. Level, 32. Penny. Gender, female. Species, Piplup. Ability, Torrent. Level, 15. Bounce. Gender, male. Species, Spheal. Ability, Ice Body. Level, 20. Croaker. Gender, male. Species, Croagunk. Ability, Anticipation. Level, 51. Original owner, Jiraiya. Gamma. Gender, male. Species, Politoad. Ability, Water Absorb. Level, 55. Original owner, Jiraiya. Fury. Gender, male. Species, Blastwas. Ability, Torrent. Level, 60. Original owner, Jiraiya. Drifter. Gender, female. Species, Driftblim. Ability, Unburden. Level, 65. Original owner, Jiraiya. Gibble. Status, Unhatched. Shiny Dratini. Status, Unhatched. Growlithe. Status, Unhatched. Ninetales. Original owner, Kushina Uzumaki. Alakazam. Original owner, Minato Namikaze. Kakashi and Zabuza got to play with some of the idiots who thought to ambush Koyuki or the caravan. Naruto wasn't about to stop them, after all he knew that was nothing compared to what Anko could have done to them. Which reminded him, The next time he saw her and he had a mission above C rank, he was so asking her. She often complained of boredom because she rarely got the good missions. Meanwhile, Naruto kept half an eye on the caravan while waving to the occasional snow ninja who recognized him or had heard about him. Some even came up to him with questions about the world before the cataclysm, and as a known expert on the subject he didn't mind answering questions. Something Obito found fascinating, because Naruto didn't seem the type to bother learning about a subject like history without being forced. However, he had never factored in Naruto's absolute love of all things Pokemon, which before the cataclysm they were so abundant that even civvies could own one. So while they were in spring, Naruto got to fully enjoy the place, unlike last time around. And his luck once again struck true for those around him. In the course of the week they were there, they had stopped 5 attempts on the massive line of carriages. Naruto was immediately glad he had asked for help, because there was no way they could have handled the 5th attempt with only 3 people, Zabuza and Obito, and his team had gained a total of 20 new Pokemon. And here Naruto is very thankful that out of all the technology that was lost in the cataclysm, the instant transfer one wasn't one of them. It allows shinobi to send newly caught Pokemon straight to home if they are over the limit set to each person. This was how Naruto managed to get most of his from spring the first time around. Naruto was just glad he didn't have any more to put on his team, as his house was starting to get full at the moment. He planned to add another habitat to his plot, with Tsunade's permission. At the moment it was only equipped for 9 of the 17 types. He was hoping to make it an even 10. Right as he was about to head in from his shift, he noted a delibird running on its feet rather quickly. Assuming it had a delivery to make, Naruto waited for it to pass. Instead it barreled right into him, looking freaked out. A quick look behind told him all he needed to know. Apparently it was a wild delibird and someone wanted to catch it to save on shipping costs. Naruto repressed a sigh and told Naru to lead the offending party away. Since the Zorua considered it a funny prank, she giggled as she did just that, taking great care to make the idiot run into walls a few times. By the time he caught on he was in a genjutsu, he really should have guessed that after the 3rd time he ran right into a pole, Naruto and the terrified delibird were long gone. Hinata took one look at the delibird, and took the logical assumption. Another stray Naruto-kun. Nah. Some idiot was trying to catch the poor thing, so I rescued it. It was terrified. Once he had the delibird fed and watered, he took it to the edge of the ice zone, as the permanently frozen mountain was now called since it was the only remnant of snow country, and released it. He had an idea of why it was the only area still covered in snow, but he didn't want to piss off the Pokemon responsible by attracting attention to it. For the next few days, Naruto caught a glimpse of something on the edge of his vision, but he could never figure out what it was. When they were finally about to leave, Naruto barely managed to brace himself as a red and white blur tackled him. It was the delibird he saved. "Do you want to join us, little one?" he asked. He could tell it was a girl by looking at it. "Deli. Okay. In that case you can sit in my pack for a while until we leave spring." Ayam was currently with Anko learning different poisons and how to tell the deadly ones from the irritating ones. Naruto learned by accident she could detect poisons in food, which was why he left her with Anko. The delibird hopped into the open bag and only its head showed. Naruto kept most of his gear sealed away, and brought the bag mostly so his team could occasionally crash outside the seal ball. Most of the time it was Naru, but she was currently practicing her illusions again, in human form. "So Prince, where exactly are we heading to next?" asked Naruto. In order to keep the fighting down, Naruto and Hinata took turns cooking meals for the team. When one of the chefs tried it later he admitted it was better than his own. That was probably the only reason that they had survived longer than the first 2 groups, well that and Naruto had quickly gotten in the habit of stocking up food at every town. Anything they had on sale that he could cook was immediately bought and sealed. Naruto bought in bulk for one reason. Anything sealed properly by someone who knew what they were doing was kept in stasis until removed. As a result, he now had a ton of perishable items like ice cream sealed away in a cold storage seal. And, to the amusement of his entire team, 50 bowls of Ichiraku ramen sealed in an emergency seal. "There's a special tournament in Grass Country," said the prince excitedly. "What kind of tournament?" asked Hinata. "I heard they are planning to start up a special Pokemon tournament that is open to the public." Apparently they heard about it from someone in spring. Naruto had a bad feeling about this. "Did this tournament thing happen to be called a Pokemon contest?" he asked. "That was it. Naruto felt like banging his head on something. As a known expert of pre-cataclysm events, he would undoubtedly be roped in as judge again. Naruto made a point to hide his distinctive blonde hair and changed out of his orange outfit to the confusion of the others. When Hinata asked why, his answer had her laughing. I don't want to be recognized as the same Naruto Uzumaki who wrote those pre-cataclysm books. He had dyed his hair a bright red color, the shade of a tomato, and changed into a more sedate red shirt to the relief of his team. Orange was well known for causing headaches if stared at too long, and Naruto was at the front of the pack. There was a reason why everyone had brought headache relief in bulk while on a mission with him. Naruto didn't actually mind grass country, though he did wonder why he kept feeling this weird tug towards certain directions. So, when half the team watched the carriage, the other half explored/shopped for supplies. Ninja gear was off limits in other villages, but food and books weren't, so long as they were allowed to civilians. Needless to say, Naruto hit the bookstore history section pretty hard. Unfortunately for him, he was recognized as the same Uzumaki Naruto who wrote the books. Fortunately for him, they already had their judges picked for the event, though they said they would appreciate his input afterwards. Considering it meant he wouldn't die of boredom while looking for flaws, Naruto could agree to that, even if he ended up roped into a signing session once the bookstore owner learned who he was. Those from Konoha weren't helping when they laughed themselves sick once they knew what was taking him so long. Of course, the prince ended up asking for a signed copy of said books once he knew what was actually going on. He clearly didn't expect to be in the presence of a famous author of history books. The only reason he wasn't outed in spring was because people were more interested in his movie role/help in defeating their previous daimyo and bringing them some positive notoriety as the first official holder of the Pokemon contest. All of his annoyance about the whole thing changed when Shifter suddenly perked up and turned into a spion under the table. Naruto, I smell an Uzumaki. Shifter had gotten a good whiff of the odd scent the Uzumaki clan had in Whirlpool. He had never noticed it because he was so used to Naruto's scent. However, Tsunade did confirm she was half Uzumaki on her grandmother's side, making her Naruto's cousin. Which was the only reason Shifter knew what that scent meant. Apparently living near the former resting place of Lugia gave the entire clan a specific underlying tone that one had to be looking for to catch. As such, when a girl with bright red hair and glasses came into the shop, Shifter immediately honed in on her. Naruto had heard offhand from Tsunade that most Uzumaki had red hair of some shade, and they were among the rare exceptions to this rule. Hello. Who should I make it out to? He asked. Karen. Karen Uzumaki, he asked, putting stress on the last name. The girl blinked twice. How did you? She asked in surprise. Shifter could tell. I'm an Uzumaki too. According to the old lady, I inherited my dad's hair instead of mom's. He noted some odd bite marks on her arms, but didn't say a word. They chatted for a bit, Karen making a note to come up with a good excuse to visit Leaf within the next few months, before she left, looking much happier than before. He later learned she had been placed under permanent assignment for a shinobi exchange between the villages to keep their friendship up. In exchange, the Leaf village sent some more missions to Kusa. Naruto was in the audience, front row, with the best view of the stage, and he was rather excited. Last time he had been rather bored out of his mind as an acting judge of the contest. He had hidden it rather well. This time he could actually enjoy it. The prince was well guarded by Kakashi, Neji and Tenten, while Hinata and Obito were next to him. Zabuza and Lee were keeping an eye on the carriages. To the horror of the group, Zabuza had in a fit of boredom started to teach Lee the silent killing technique. Well, that and in the hope that it would get the brat to shut up. This was actually bad because it made Lee more annoying. Because he was naturally good at the silent killing technique. He kept sneaking up behind Neji and scaring him for fun. It had the added bonus of getting Naruto to laugh too. Naruto cheered as loud as any of the civis, but afterwards he got to speak to the contestants personally. They seemed to be really pleased by his praise, and the few issues he had with their performance was taken with a grain of salt. After all, Naruto had earned a reputation of knowing his Pokemon, and very few people could write an approved history book for ninja academies. Naruto would later look at his own work in horror when he learned that it was now the academy standard for pre-cataclysm history class. Iruka still laughed about it. Once the contest was over, Naruto went to the prince to ask where their next stop was, and the destination had him cackling from the rear of the group. The Suna Festival, known for also hosting the once-a-year ramen festival that had 100 different types of ramen. Naruto had heard rumors of it, Gaara confirmed them to the boy's delight, but had never seen it himself. The third Hokage barely managed to keep Naruto in the village when he first heard of it. After that his Umbu guard tripled every time it came around to keep the boy from leaving. That is, until Hana and Anko found the best deterrent. They simply gave him a difficult jutsu to keep when he was 9, he learned about the festival when he was 6, and it usually took him a week to figure out how to use it. By that time the festival was over. Surprisingly, Naruto didn't mind the bribe. Naruto. Hey Gaara. How are Chomper and Nozomi? Gaara's grin was slighting worry to those who weren't used to his less homicidal self. Naruto soon found out why. Chomper was now a Tyranitar. Good grief. What did you feed him? Idiots and perverts. Oh, in that case it's completely acceptable, said Naruto. The two laughed at that. So how have you been, Gaara? Asked Naruto as they headed into the festival. Bored, mostly. I'm being considered for Jounin. And it appears your luck has rubbed off on me, because I now have a full team. Really? Most people curse my luck. In fact, the old lady made a form people have to sign before they can go on missions with me, said Naruto. Gaara grinned at that. What took them so long? So who's on your team? Chomper, Nozomi, Nightmare, Usagi, Tsuki, and Digger, said Gaara. I have Shifter, Delia, Delibird, Naru, Kurama, and Croaker. Isn't Croaker Jiraiya's? Asked Gaara. Yeah, but the Arrow Sunin gave me his old team and got some new eggs so he can start over. Apparently it was either that, or have to deal with his old team ignoring him even though he has the badges for them to listen to him. That reminds me, are you going to join the ranking festival? Asked Gaara. Ranking festival? Asked Hinata. In order to keep the amount of foreign shinobi in the village to a minimum, the last Kazekage created a ranking festival to go along with the Suna festival. It doubles as the ranking exams for us, so we don't have scheduling conflicts with the Chunin exams. Kakashi knew what was on Naruto's mind. So he asked a question. Is it any different from Konoha's? Actually yes. In Suna you can make teams of 3 with different villages. At least that's what Temari told me. Naruto's eyes gleamed. It wouldn't be hard to join the exam, since the prince planned to stay for a few weeks, and Naruto could easily convince him to stay around to watch the ninja he hired. Besides, it was an excuse to hang around Gaara. Excuse me a minute, said Naruto. Oh boy. Gaara, are you part of the ranking exams? No. Though there was a serious debate to have me as the Suna master. Apparently Chunin aren't allowed to stand in. Jounin, yes, but not Chunin, said Gaara. Then you better prepare. Naruto clearly plans to drag you and one other into the exam. My bet is on Obito. Gaara grinned. Naruto was in ramen heaven. Because the Suna Council preferred to get everything out of the way in order to minimize the outsider influence, they had their ranking exam during the ramen festival. Kakashi had promised to buy 50 bowls of ramen for the boy if he managed to get the Wind Master badge. What Naruto didn't know was that earning an Village Master badge had a side benefit for foreign shinobi. If he earned that, he was allowed to get rare wind-style scrolls pre-selected by Suna Jounin, even if he wasn't from Suna. It was one of the few reasons that shinobi from other villages tried out for ranking exams outside their village, even if they didn't get anything out of it aside from a few badges. They got scrolls that were normally kept in-house as it were. Kakashi's main reason for allowing Naruto to actually join this exam was simple really. He heard Kurane had tested his chakra affinity less than a week of having the kids, and Naruto had gotten wind with some earth and water. She sent him to Asuma for wind training, and he was making great progress. Considering Kakashi was willing to feed his ramen addiction, Naruto made a point to get Gaara and Hinata on his team. She was a water type, but since there was an abundance of those in Konoha, she would help Naruto get more scrolls in exchange for some rare Pokemon on her team. It was a fair trade. Gaara just wanted to be on the same team as Naruto because he had heard about his luck and how every time he went on a C or above mission, the team came back with an even larger Pokemon team than when they left. He had only gotten a full team through patience and he wanted some variety. Most people were terrified of Chomper now, since his reputation of biting people in the ass had yet to go away. The fact Gaara encouraged Chomper to give certain people speculative looks did not help either. Temari only allowed it because most of the time those people turned out to be complete dicks that needed to be reminded who the ninja was. Kankuro was still too terrified to sleep anywhere near Chomper when he was outside the seal ball. Temari had put her foot down and made Gaara put his first Pokemon in a seal ball when he evolved into Tyranitar. He was simply too big to fit in the gourd now, no matter how much Gaara wanted to claim strength training. At least Nozomi still lived in the gourd. She was his best snuggle buddy since the seal was fixed. Temari would later trade Naruto pictures of this in exchange for Jiraiya signing her books. Naruto once again aced the computer exams. Even if the subject was slightly different, this time focusing more on terrain and attacks, and he would learn later that was the exam for Jounin applicants, he still got a perfect score. Gaara got a slightly lower score, he had only missed one, to the amusement of Naruto, and Hinata came in 5th. To be fair, she had less time to read the same books the boys did. And her family only let her train her team her way if she was outside the compound. As it was, her Lucario had a deep distaste for the Hyuga elders. When Hinata finally gave up hope on those idiots and lead a mass rebellion, Rio would be at the forefront of the attacks. It really didn't like the elders. When they were lead out to the survival area, a large portion of the desert with a few man-made oases strategically placed, Naruto noted something in the distance. "What the heck is that?" "Scoreboard," said Gaara unconcerned. "Come again," said Naruto, not sure he heard that right. "Unlike Konoha, here you have to fight your fellow examines in order to pass. Capturing adds to the score total, but the main way to pass is to beat the others. Healing stations are at the oasis, and the transfer system is put on a restriction to 3 switch-outs for 3 Pokemon. So when does the Wind Master come into play?" asked Hinata. "Those with the highest scores get taken to a special arena where they battle the Wind Master for the coveted Wind Badge. Beat the Master, and you automatically pass the exam and get to skip the 3rd portion," said Gaara. "Is this teamwork-oriented?" asked Naruto. "Double battles are acceptable, but the full team can't gang up on the Master. You and Hinata could team up and I deal with him after you," said Gaara. "I have a plan. Hinata, you stick close to me until we get to the Wind Master stage, and we'll double battle him. In the meantime, help me look for a Trapinch," said Naruto. "Why Trapinch?" asked Hinata. "Present for Shino. Said he would trade one of his family's combi for a Trapinch." "Why would you want a combi?" asked Gaara. "Free honey. If you build a hive for combi, more gather and make a ton of it." "Do you have any idea how much honey costs at the store?" said Naruto. "I didn't know you liked honey, Naruto," said Hinata. "It's a Pokemon attractant. Plus I like sweet things." Gaara noted with amusement at the small amount of blood coming from Hinata's nose and correctly guessed the reason why. 4 days later, Naruto, Hinata and Gaara were lead into the Wind Master area, having beaten everyone else in the grounds at least once. Naruto had added to his team, though only 3 this time. He had found a brother and sister Trapinch, and, unwilling to separate them, had caught both. After that he ran into a baby Cubone who had recently hatched, and had taken it in. He planned to keep the mischievous boy Trapinch, as the sweet-tempered sister would be perfect for Shino. Gaara was rather pleased with his newest catch. A Vibrava, Lunatone and Corphish, it had ended up in an oasis by mistake and was unable to leave, were now his newest additions. Hinata was happy with her new team Pokemon, even if she had filled her original one up months ago thanks to Naruto's luck. She had a happy-go-lucky Cacnea, a lazy Onix, and a shy Nidoran, female. They had only used the transfer system once, and that was only because Hinata wanted her new Nidoran on her immediate team and Naruto wanted his baby Cubone on his, and because Naruto kept a good stock of healing supplies, they never had to stop for aid. Gaara neglected to tell them that it had a limited supply available, didn't stop Naruto from raiding it for extras anyway. Besides, it was cheaper than buying antidotes for Wind Country poisons. As it was, Kakashi had left a message for Naruto and Hinata that they would be leaving as soon as they passed the exam. Apparently the client was getting bored and had heard of a circus with a saber-toothed tiger. They were heading that way soon. Naruto really didn't want to deal with a pissy Tsunade because he had gone into the exam while on a mission. The only reason he was even allowed in was because the team was large enough to cover them and the client had cleared it. He still had no idea what that form was though. As Naruto and Hinata decimated the poor Jounin, who was already sweating bullets because he had to face Chomper next, Gaara was off to the side reading one of Naruto's books. For someone who hated reading shinobi history, he could write an interesting pre-cataclysm book. It was one of the few classes that the entire class enjoyed. Probably because Naruto hated reading boring books, so he tried to keep it interesting. It was an odd combination that worked. Gaara finally went, and as predicted the fight wasn't long. Chomper was one of the few Tyranitar in the village, and easily the biggest. This was because Gaara took immaculate care of his friend, and the Everstone he had put on the Larvitar's neck had fallen off at the perfect time. By the time the match ended, Gaara was no longer as bored. Naruto casually walked up to Gaara. "So when do we get our shiny new badges?" "Tomorrow, before lunch." Aiming that last spike cannon was rather amusing by the way. "Did you see the way he looked like he was about to cry?" cackled Naruto. Gaara grinned. Naruto had been aiming low. Very low for a guy anyway. Gaara and Naruto were eating ramen when the Delibird brought them the badges. It was the last night of the ramen festival, and Naruto intended to enjoy it. Naruto stared at his shiny new badge and a thought occurred to him. "Only 3 more to go," he said. "3 more what?" "Master badges. I get 3 more, and I get in the running for the Hokage seat." Gaara stared at him. "Why would you need master badges to become Hokage?" Naruto went into what would later be called his history mode. Back before the cataclysm, there were 4 trainers called the Elite Four. Now those who were able to beat those 4 trainers were given the chance to fight the champion. If they beat him, they were considered elite Pokemon trainers and their names went down in history. When they recreated the gyms of old through ranking contests, it was agreed that should anyone ever succeed in getting all 5 master badges from the 5 biggest villages, they would be placed in the running for the cage of their village. And since you would have trouble earning it the usual way, you decided to try the one no one has ever succeeded at, said Gaara. "I already have 2. Just need 3 more. Do you really believe your village would allow you to become Kage? The previous Mizu Kage was like us, so I don't see why not," said Naruto. "What? Zabuza mentioned it. Said Yagura was like us, only he had the 3 tails." "I never knew that," said Gaara. Naruto nodded. "Anyway, I have to join my team. I'll have Delia send you mail," said Naruto. "Only you would stumble onto a Delibird in trouble." "Still, at least you don't have to deal with former Nukenin just to send messages," said Gaara. The Delibird Express was run almost exclusively by former ninja. The only reason the Iron Samurai didn't kick them out was because in exchange for letting the ninja run the business in known neutral territory, they got a good cut. Naruto grinned and gave Gaara a thumbs up as he walked towards the caravan. Gaara gave him a wave back. Naruto was quick to declare not it, when it came time to guard the caravan. He wanted to see the circus too. "Damn you," said Zabuza. Mainly because he wasn't quick enough to avoid getting roped into guard duty. On the plus side, being around the brat managed to finally land him a Lapras, which he had been wanting for years, but never had the time to find. Already the volunteering to join the brat was worth it. Still, at least he had something to do, as Naruto had provided entertainment in the form of a fantasy novel he was writing. Apparently writing was quickly becoming his best source of income, so Naruto decided to branch out. Zabuza didn't mind proofreading for the brat, because for the most part it didn't have many errors. Unlike Ika, Naruto had a basic idea of what grammar and spelling was. Naruto fully planned to knock Jiraiya's crappy books off the top spot. He heard clapping, and saw the Chibi Patrol come out. "We're changing shifts," said Naruto. Zabuza grinned. He tossed the manuscript back to the blonde. "No errors I could see, and it was a good read," he said. Naruto grinned. He pulled out a whistle and waited for Zabuza to leave before he blew it. A Pidgeotto appeared with the Delibird Express vest on it. Naruto wrapped the manuscript and tossed it in the air. It had the publisher's address on it and a note inside. The Pidgeotto snatched the package and left. Naruto was about to board the boat when he heard a cry. He held out his hand and a letter dropped. He read it and grinned. The Pidgeotto landed on his arm and he paid it a tip in cash and flying-type treats. The bird Pokemon thanked him before flying off. "What was that about Naruto-kun?" asked Hinata. "Publisher accepted the new novel. Should be out by the time we get back. And everyone on this mission with me gets a free copy. And yet another reason why I like you, brat," said Zabuza. "What was it about?" asked Kakashi. "You didn't read the copy I lent you," said Naruto disappointed. "He read that third-rate porn again," said Neji. Naruto twitched. "Sunin or not, that crap he puts out offends me greatly. Read it around me at your own peril," growled Naruto. Kakashi sweat dropped. "Offends the author and you, brat," snickered Zabuza. "Damn straight it does. I've seen his mission reports and some of his spy reports. It's so full of errors that it makes me gag. Plus I have Croaker with me too, and he loves to poison jab anyone he sees reading it, said Naruto. Obito laughed at the look on Kakashi's face. He had been the first one to read Naruto's new book and he loved it. The two acted like brothers, with Obito the older. They got along better than Kakashi ever did. It was a miracle. Plus there was the fact they both loved pranks. Kakashi had kept count of how many times someone had been pranked on the way to Moon, and so far the number was 137. Not bad for a pair of brats. Damn it. I hate storms, roared Naruto. This coming from the kid named Maelstrom, retorted Obito. Bite me. Finally Naruto got fed up and took out his flute. With the way things were going, he would sweat to Arceus that this was Lugia's doing. What are you doing? Shouted Zabuza. He was used to storms on sea, but not this bad. Calming Lugia down. Every time one comes up, a 40-day storm crops up soon after, yelled Naruto. Play flute song from Pokemon 2000. The storm slowly started to calm down, but only a little. It was enough for the captain to get the ship under control and the circus to get the animals in. They nearly lost Sham and Kiki, if not for the actions of the prince's son and Obito. Naruto was too busy keeping the storm calm through his flute. Naruto was on edge the second they set foot on the island. The place was a popular vacation spot, yet he hadn't seen a single person aside from the harbor workers. It was so suspicious that the entire team picked up on it. What's up Naruto? Asked Obito. Too quiet. Tell the ringmaster not to make too much noise. We don't want much attention, said Naruto. His eyes were sharp, and his attentiveness had shot up. The prince didn't understand why the shinobi were all on edge. What's up Blondie? Said Zabuza. The air is too quiet. Something isn't right. What is bothering you Naruto? Asked Kakashi. Moon Country is a highly popular vacation spot isn't it? So where are all the people? Where is the noise from the casinos? There should be people out, but the air is quiet like the beginning of a storm about to hit, said Naruto. We're stuck here until that Lugia goes back under, said Kakashi. Right. Hinata, Obito, Zabuza, Lee, head off into the woods. If there is trouble, they don't need to know our full numbers. I may be paranoid, but I'm not a complete idiot, said Naruto. You're not an idiot. And now that you mention it, it is far too quiet, said Kakashi. The four split off discreetly, and vanished. Damn it, I hate being right like that, said Naruto. They had barely made an escape from the palace. And Naruto had been entirely correct in having the group split off. There was an ambush waiting for them. The king was nearly dead, even though Naruto and Naru were doing their best to save him. Damn it. I don't know what this is, but I am not about to lose a patient, said Naruto. He reached into his bag of tricks and pulled out a full restore. He looked at it, then at the king. In for a Ryo and all that, he muttered. Not like a simple full restore would reverse the stone damage, right? He sprayed the stone with the mix, and to his surprise it looked like the full restore was actually reversing the transformation. What the? Naru, hand me some more full restore. I think we might be able to save the old man, said Naruto. Naru kept passing him full restores, and Naruto sprayed every inch he could. The stone slowly vanished while Hinata did her best to ease the king's pain. In the end it was little use. The king's heart was simply too weak after being stuck in stone for so long. Naruto took comfort in the fact he had at least made the king's passing a peaceful one. So what's the plan Foxboy? Asked Zabuza. These creeps are more or less controlling the harbor. And it wouldn't make a difference anyway with that Lugia out there causing a storm, said Naruto. I doubt they know about that, said Neji. True. I got it. We draw them out and ambush them. I got some chakra suppressors in my henges damn near impossible to detect. One of us plays the prince and his son. The others will hide at strategic points to attack once the trick is up, said Naruto. He has a point. My Sharingan can't see through that henge of his, and with seals hiding his chakra, they won't be able to figure it out, said Kakashi. Our Byakugan can't see it either, said Neji. It's settled. Said Kakashi, who had Lee, Zabuza and Neji hid in certain points on the beach. Hinata would play the prince's son, while Naruto played the guards. Kakashi would pretend to help guard the prince, who was being played by a clone of Kakashi's. Naruto waited for the opportune moment to spring the trap. That moment came when the four ninja tried to ambush them. Because he had noticed one of the shinobi was a poison user, he had Shifter in a spion form. The woman the first to note that something was off. "Go Asaiden," she barked. A purple mist erupted from the seal ball, and Naruto knew without being told it was the poison evolutionary form of the EV. He grinned. This trip was more productive than he hoped. "Shifter, bite. A spion." And with that, the battle began. "It's a trap," yelled the one with stone powers. More Pokemon joined the fray, as Lee's Poliwrath threw boulders the size of Niji's chitin. Naruto wasn't surprised that every Pokemon on Lee's team knew strength. Or that his Tyrogue had evolved into Hitmonlee. The stone user snarled, and brought out a second Pokemon after Shifter made quick work of the first. "Kill that freaky Eevee, Dunian." The new Pokemon appeared to be the rock evolution of Eevee. "Shifter, get him. Use Iron Tail." Ada. The spiked ball slammed into the rock type, causing it to flinch from pain. Naruto grinned evilly now. "Shifter, bite attack." The steel form of Shifter bit hard, and the evolutionary data for the rock form was absorbed. Naruto was normally not this cruel, but he had seen the palace Pokemon after this bastard had gotten through with them. Their deaths had been painful and very slow. He had only managed to save one, and even that poor thing was still in pain. So yes, his natural kindness was sorely lacking right now. He had already put down that poison type hard. The man snarled and prepared to use the eye on his hand on Naruto. The blonde wasn't having any of that. "Niji, Hinata, incoming." He copied Lee's kick and sent the man flying. The two cousins worked as a harmonious team as they shut his Tenketsu off painfully. Depending on how this went, they could be collecting a sizable bounty. He was the only one that interested Naruto, with that weird hand of his. The other two managed to escape, but they never thought to retrieve their Pokemon partners. Naruto growled. He would never leave part of his team behind. He could see the hurt in their eyes. Shifter slowly walked up to them and explained their options. The two evolutions were given the quiet option of hearing their partner's explanation for why they were left behind. If they did it to save their own skins and could care less about them, then Naruto planned to leave them with the prince and his son as protectors. At least he knew Hikaru would be willing to befriend the poor things. "What the hell do you mean the prince was captured? You were supposed to be watching them," yelled Naruto. Obito winced at the volume while Tenten looked away embarrassed. "Alright Tenten, why don't we hear your excuse first? It's more likely to be believable," said Naruto after calming down slightly. He did not look happy. They were talking about shinies and the prince went to take a leak. Obito said he would go with him but apparently someone got him in his blind spot. She said quickly. "Tenten, if you can successfully retrieve the prince or his son, I will help you find a Cyndaquil." "Obito, I will see if I can convince Anko to part with one of her Dratini eggs if you capture the ones who knocked you out," said Naruto. "Deal," said the pair eagerly. They knew of Naruto's bizarre luck when it came to acquiring new Pokemon for his friends. Zabuza was a happy camper. Thanks to the blonde brat, he now had a Lapras, Gyarados, Farfetch'd, and Seadra. All of which would have taken months to find and catch on his own. Even Kakashi got another for his team. Even if it was a common Pidgey that kept harassing him to death. Naruto had gotten a good laugh out of that, saying that maybe he should change his name since he couldn't keep the Pidgeys away. Kakashi had strung him upside for the comment along with the laughing Obito. So far Naruto was coordinating with the loyal guards so that they could infiltrate and rescue the prince. Naruto didn't really worry about Hikaru, mostly because he knew Chama would help to protect the runt. One look at that tiger, and most non-shinobi trained forces would run. Plus it really didn't hurt that one of the newly hatched Growlithe pups had seen Hikaru trying repeatedly to befriend that ornery tiger, and had been impressed by the kid's courage. Naruto planned to see if that little runt could be convinced to stick by Hikaru's side. In the meantime he brought out the Dunian and introduced Hikaru to the tiny Pokemon. It amused him greatly to see the little guy curl into Hikaru's touch. Apparently the jerk with the stone powers never really treated him right. The poison one hissed whenever anyone came too close to it. Kakashi, Obito and Niji went with the circus. They were the distraction team. Lee, Zabuza, Tenten, Hinata, and Naruto were going to rescue the prince and deal with whoever nabbed him when they fought on the beach. If they were really lucky, one of the soldiers did it. Otherwise they would be dealing with more shinobi. Naruto was really hoping for a lucky soldier. Hinata shivered. If things went badly this could be her first kill. Naruto hugged her gently just in case. Hinata was a gentle soul. She was better suited to healing to fighting from a distance than like a Hyuga did. With that little bit of comfort, Hinata stopped shivering. Ryo was already out and ready to fight. They stalked into the main hall, only to find the way blocked. It was that nut who attacked Lee. Lee, he's all yours. Next hall, said Naruto. Lee grinned broadly. Tenten threw a kunao at the wall, revealing the genjutsu user from earlier. Hinata joined Tenten as Naruto had the others go on ahead. The jerk with the stone hand was still safely imprisoned by several Pokemon who were under orders to freeze him should he try anything. Delia looked particularly eager to try out her recently learned blizzard attack. That kid's all yours, Hinata, Tenten, said Naruto. Kid. Do I look like a kid to you? Screeched the girl. Naruto snickered. His patented annoyance technique worked every time. Zabuza and Naruto ran up to the next level. So Zabuza, how do you like this mission so far? Asked Naruto grinning. Kid, if this is how your missions go, then count me in again. That stupid form was worth it for this kind of fun, grinned Zabuza. And the fact you've caught around 7 new Pokemon, grinned Naruto. Ha. Do you have any idea how long I've been trying to find a Lapras? Cackled Zabuza. Naruto grinned at him. They came onto the landing that was in open air. There, they came across 2 other shinobi, who they didn't notice. Kid, you get the prince. I'll deal with these idiots, grinned Zabuza. Go Giro, said Zabuza smirking. Dose. The long serpentine form of Gyarados nearly knocked Naruto off the landing. He ran along the spine of the water type to get past the shinobi. On his back was Hikaru, because that was honestly the safest place to be. The board holding Mikuru was beginning to break. Papa, cried Hikaru. Hold on Hikaru. We're taking the expressway up, said Naruto. He held on to the kid princess style and ran right up the tower wall. Below he could hear Chaimu running up the stairs and generally trying to reach Hikaru. Once they got up to the top, Chaimu was waiting. Chaimu, you help Hikaru. I'll go help Zabuza, said Naruto. The saber-toothed tiger roared. Naruto dropped down and made sure to throw Shifter's ball so it would open on the ground. Shifter, psychic, yelled Naruto. A spion. The red jewel glowed brightly as the telekinesis caught him mid-fall. Naruto didn't need to see Zabuza to know where the enemy shinobi were. The cries alone did that. He grinned. Shifter, pin missile. Tion. Shifter switched to his steel form and started to shoot out red-hot pins. Zabuza heard Naruto's voice and avoided most of them, but the enemy shinobi weren't so lucky. One of them couldn't quite stand up after being hit. The other got his head cut off by Kubikuri Haucho. I yield, cried the one who couldn't stand. All around them were cries of battle. Naruto noticed that the rope above them was cut, and Mikuru was going to fall to his death, if Naruto hadn't cushioned it with a ton of shadow clones for him to fall into. Since the other shinobi was incapacitated and the rest were out of commission, the only thing left to do was to deal with the ringleader of this whole mess. Shibetaba was killed in a quiet ceremony along with several others. 2 of the shinobi he hired to take out the king were put under a specific seal and ended up serving Mikuru. The one Naruto took out with a pin missile attack decided to try his luck in Konoha. He used to be an IWA ninja, but after the Third War he grew disillusions with the will of stone. Considering he didn't mind working for former enemies, and all he had done was capture Mikuru, according to the new king, he was a lot more friendly than the one Zabuza killed off. Kakashi was willing to give the man a chance. Besides, he knew a rare kinjusta from IWA. So why are we still here? Asked Zabuza. Kakashi overused the Sharingan. He'll be bedridden for a few weeks, so we'll be staying here, said Obito grinning. Not that I'm complaining or anything, but does this mean what I think it means? Asked Tenten, eyes gleaming. Vacation time, cheered the younger shinobi. Even Zabuza was grinning under his mask. Hey, did you guys know that this country is the biggest exporter of moonstones? Grinned Naruto. Really? Said Hinata. Yup. You know what that means, don't you? Where moonstones are? Started Tenten. Clefairy and Jigglypuff gather, among others, said Hinata grinning. She always wanted a Jigglypuff or Clefairy. We're going hunting for them later, Naruto promised. Naruto was about to take his team to the beach when he heard a familiar cry. Oh no, not again. We earned this vacation, he complained. Celebi was back. The green fairy Pokemon appeared before him and Shifter went psychic to translate. Uzumaki Naruto, bring 2 friends with you. Believe me, you'll need collaborators for a week after you return home. Someone has to take care of those in your team. So I'm going to pre-cataclysm elemental countries a week after my vacation? I can live with that. Yes, but you'll need someone to bring your reports back as well as any new Pokemon you capture. Once you pick 2 others, they will be given a pendant so they can contact me. You have an hour, said Celebi. Naruto immediately rounded up Obito and Hinata. They were the only 2 he trusted to keep his Pokemon alive while he was gone. Plus, after seeing Hinata in a bikini, to Niji's absolute horror, Naruto had started to see her in an entirely different light. Or as Kakashi said in a conspirator tone to Zabuza, Naruto had finally discovered hormones. To be fair, Sakura Haruno was flat as a board, whereas Hinata had started to develop very early. A few days after that, Naruto asked Hinata out, and she promptly fainted. Ever since the 2 had been holding hands occasionally, with Niji keeping a not-so-discreet watch over the 2 of them. Even after Kakashi had a word with the boy. So what's this about Naruto? Asked Obito. You know how I rescued you, right? Yeah, you said you were hijacked by Celebi. If it wasn't for the fact that I clearly remember the rebel and waking up with Tsunade's Hokage and Kakashi much older than I remembered, I wouldn't have believed it. Why? The legendary Pokemon want me to do something. Celebi just showed up and told me to grab 2 others to act as my contacts when they send me into the far past. How far are we talking about, Naruto-kun? Asked Hinata. She was much less shy since Naruto asked her out. In his words, he liked the weird girls more than he did the violent loud ones. Before the cataclysm, said Naruto flatly. He paused when he heard the familiar cry of Celebi. The green fairy Pokemon lead them deep into the mountains, though thankfully nowhere near the old king had died. Shifter was on Naruto's head, Ryo was walking along with Hinata, and Giggles, Obito's Apom, was busy playing with Obito's goggles. So why us? Asked Obito. Because I happen to like Hinata, she's already keyed into my house seals, and you already live in the house and I don't have to add you. Besides, this way you don't have to apartment shop, said Naruto bluntly. True, plus your Pokemon already know me, said Obito. And once I get back, I know the house will be reasonably clean and the fridge fully stocked, said Naruto proudly. You suck. I'm your live-in Genin team until you get back. Dude, you don't have to pay rent and I've got it set up so that any utilities and taxes are paid directly from my account. All you have to do is keep the place clean and make sure my team is still alive when I get back, Naruto deadpanned. No rent or utilities. How do you plan to pay for all that while you're away? Asked Obito. He had to admit, the offer was extremely tempting. Duh, the cash I get from selling all those books. Do you really think I would stop writing once I go into the past? Coincidentally, which of you wants to be the one to deal with the publishers for me? I'll do it, said Hinata. For that, you get to be the heroine of the next book, said Naruto grinning. Hinata blushed. Any further banter stopped once they realized who they were going to meet. It was Suakun, Entei and Reikao. Good, you made it here, said Suakun. He rather liked Naruto. Each of the 3 great cats moved before one of the shinobi. Suakun stood before Hinata, Entei to Obito, and Reikao to Naruto. All 3 dropped a single jewel, glowing from an internal light. Hinata was given a pure sapphire. It felt cool to the touch, but in that cool was a sense of relief, like a wet cloth when you had a fever, or cold water on a burn. This felt like the healing touch of someone who cared. Obito was given a ruby, hot like a warm cup of tea on a cold day. It felt soothing, like the comfort of someone you loved when you needed them. Like the feeling you got from a good book on a snowy day and a cup of hot chocolate after playing in the snow. Naruto was given a topaz. It felt like liquid electricity, like that spark of life given to all living beings. Holding it reminded him of thunderstorms, the sheer power of the lightning as it crashed through the path of least resistance. Yet that power was tempered by calm acceptance. The song of the wind that you had to stop in order to hear. Celebi floated in front of them. Release Zorua from her seal ball, Naruto. Naru appeared from her ball, and barked in greeting to the 3 great cats. Now remove the Everstone you gave it and feed it a rare candy. It's time for Zorua to grow up. Naruto carefully removed the necklace and fed Naru a rare candy. Once the sweet took effect, she began to glow as she evolved. Zoruark. Naru, now that you are a Zoruark, you are tasked to watch over the Leaf Village Pokemon and their partners until Naruto's return. Where we are sending him, you cannot go for the moment. Once you are older, we will send you to meet him, said Celebi. Suicune looked at Naruto. The reason why Arceus is sending you to the past is so you have a chance to grow stronger. Your bond with your Pokemon is the strongest in the elemental nations. Before those fools ruined everything by trying to control the legendary Pokemon, the world was more at peace. Civilians and those tasked to keep the peace used to work side by side. Now there is a clear difference in power. When you return from the past Uzumaki Naruto, we want you to fulfill your ancestors' oath to restore that balance of power. Shinobi were never meant to rule this world, said Suicune. How can I do that? There is a war coming. One that will envelop all of this world. Enemies shall band together in order to end a madman's dream, but the cost will be great. Possibly too great, and it may force another cataclysm. The Ten Tails cannot be awoken from the slumber it was forced into by Arceus and the Rakuto sage. The restoration of the lost technology and knowledge would go a long way to lessen the blow of the war, said Celebi. Why? Why does there have to be war? Asked Hinata. Because the shinobi have grown too strong. This war will be caused by a single madman who helped to build the greatest of the hidden villages. Your ancestor, Madara Uchiha. However, there is a spark of hope in this darkness, said Reikao. How can we defeat someone as old and powerful as Madara? Asked Obito in horror. He had heard the tales of his ancestor, who had the horrific ability to steal bodies before death and take them over. As one, the three great cats looked at Obito. Due to Naruto's intervention, Madara's initial plan to steal your body was foiled and he had to take over the body of Shisui Uchiha. Thanks to this, the Leaf Village has a chance. In the original timeline, you were taken over and Madara unlocked a rather unusual trait that belongs to your Sharingan eye. You have the ability to use a technique very similar to your teacher's Hiraishin. It will allow you to become insubstantial for enough time to avoid injury and deal damage. You'll have to unlock that yourself, but you should be able to unlock the main Jikyo Sharingan without losing yourself like Madara did, said Entei. You three will be extremely important if this world is to survive. Never lose your bonds with each other, or your Pokemon, said Suicune. And with that, the three great cats gently touched their paws to each child before returning to where they had been before. Celebi was gone too. That was disconcerting, said Naruto. Agreed, said the other two. We need sake. Lots and lots of sake. And possibly copious amounts of gambling. Anyone up to bankrupting a corrupt casino? Asked Naruto, rubbing his head. All this serious talk was giving him a massive headache. The other two looked at each other amused, before they started walking back down to town. No doubt Kakashi would ask where they went. Naruto was out buying some more souvenirs. He already had 3 scrolls full for everyone back home, including Tsunade, when his eye was caught by 2 odd-shaped egg-like pendants. He had heard of these necklaces before from his research into pre-cataclysm history. This resembled the pendant given to all those who had dedicated their lives to healing Pokemon. Even the Chanseis got one. Picking it up, he noted the gold was slightly tarnished and looked like brass. That there was dug up in grass country. I bought it for 5,000 ryo apiece, said the clerk. How much for both? 7,500 ryo each, he said promptly. Naruto handed over the cash without blinking. There was something like chakra, but not coming from the pendants. If they were what he thought, then they would be quite useful in the past. Much like the badges of old, these pendants had some sort of power in them, but no one ever said what they were. And only those who went to the special schools were allowed to wear them. From what he read about these schools, he was qualified to wear it, as he had to learn the much harder method of non-chakra healing due to his tenant, even if the fox was helping his control. Naruto slipped it on his neck and put the other in his pocket to give to Tsunade later as a prize for completing her training. In the meantime, Naruto planned to hit one of the shoddier casinos where the pot went up in the millions for a single hand. He had already earned the cash to join said games, now he just had to hit it. He chuckled darkly. Those poor souls had likely never come across someone like him, whose luck during missions was only countered by his gambling luck, which was the inverse of Tsunade. He planned to hide most of that and only dole out a third. Naruto was no fool, as countless arguments between him and the civilian council had only pounded a single lesson in his head. The one with the most money invested into a particular person or company tended to win more arguments. What people didn't know was that a third of his writing fortune had gone into anonymously investing in several key council members' businesses as insurance. If they tried anything, like say kicking him out of the village over some trumped-up charge, he would pull out so fast they would fall on their backside. The fact he kept a very accurate accounting of how much he invested didn't hurt either, or that he used a rather odd name to fall behind. Arashi Namikaze, the last bit was in tribute to his hero, the Yellow Flash, was considered one of the biggest investors in the village. Naruto often had to restrain his laughter at the sound of Arashi's praise. Naruto's eyes glinted as he whistled to the shady casino. It wouldn't be until one that he finally managed to leave, though that was after kicking the ass of some idiot bandits and pitifully weak former shinobi who took offense Naruto had beaten them at poker. Kakashi didn't bother to ask where he had been, seeing as he had a hangover courtesy of an also suffering Zabuza. Naruto was grinning as he had Tropic check the weather out and see. The Lugia went back to sleep. The passage is clear for the moment, he said cheerfully to the dock master. You're a good kid. Want to learn how to tell the weather while everyone gets ready to leave tomorrow? You bet, said Naruto grinning like a fox. Thanks to copious amounts of clones, Naruto learned about various weather patterns and clouds. Say what you will about Naruto, he didn't turn down learning new things. It was part of the reason he was so unpredictable. So explain to me again how you ended up drunk off your ass on the day we're supposed to return back to the mainland, asked Naruto in a tone he knew would cause massive amounts of pain to anyone with a hangover. Kakashi, Obito, and Neji all winced. Though how the hell they managed to rope Neji of all people into a drinking contest he really didn't want to know. Hinata wasn't even there to help him berate the trio, as she had heard word that the breakfast bar had cinnamon buns. She was like a shark to those. Where Naruto had a ramen addiction, Hinata turned predatory whenever the scent of cinnamon and icing was in the air. These two started talking about how Hayashi-sama will react to you dating Hinata, and how any children you had were likely to be pranksters. Said Neji, wincing. Meh, we were reminiscing, said Obito unrepentant. Normally I would let you suffer, but unfortunately we might need all hands on deck once we hit the mainland. So consider yourself grateful that I'll letting you take the night shift. However you three are joining Lee on the banned list until we hit shore, said Naruto. Aren't you supposed to listen to the Jounin, complained Kakashi, who had up till now been silent. Not when I have the moral superiority of dealing with three fools who got hungover right when we were about to head home, replied Naruto flatly. All three winced. Tsunade would likely have their heads for this if Naruto told her. That being said, Naruto was quick to get the recipe for cinnamon buns for experimenting with. He had heard tales of Hayashi and the Hyuga elders, and none of them were very good. That was why he was going to bribe Hinata with cinnamon buns to keep her from going back into her shell once their new relationship status got out. Tsunade looked at the reports of everyone who had gone to Moon Country and felt a headache coming on. At least thanks to that Lugia they had time to write it, and because of Naruto they were legible enough to actually read. As it was, she had the feeling that the reports were the least of her problems. That reminds me, do you know where Ino and Haku are? I got the pre-release of the movie from Koyokiheim, said Naruto. Try the barbecue later. And what is this note about the three great cats? Reikao, Entei, and Suakun said that I would be hijacked within a week of coming home, something about preparing for a massive war and trying to lessen the casualty list. Anno, they said that Naruto had been picked to bring back the ancient technology straight from the past, but he would have to spend 3 years there. They also said that the one who causes the war is Madara Uchiha, said Hinata nervously. How many of you were present to see them? Asked Tsunade, reaching for her sake. Obito, Hinata, and Naruto all raised their hands. Tell me exactly what was said and how badly we're going to need to upgrade training schedules, she said after taking a shot. They relayed most of the message, not bothering to mention their new jewels, and left roughly around dinner. Naruto passed on the copies of the final Princess movie to the others before heading home with Obito. There he was tackled by his Pokemon, and a few newcomers as well. Are you three part of my parents' old team? The one that looked like a wisp purred as it rubbed against Naruto. Shifter looked at it before bringing a paw up to it. The next thing Naruto knew, Shifter looked like a double of the wispy fox thing. Jineon. Another with ribbons on it barked in greeting. Shifter gave it a paw and ended up turning into it too. Sylveon. Naruto did the only thing he could. He went up to his bed, and went straight to sleep. He could deal with this in the morning. Naruto woke up after a couple of hours to the smell of pizza. Obito or Hinata must be cooking again, he decided. Likely Obito, a love of tomatoes appeared to be genetic. He noted that his bed actually seemed to have some space for a change. Most of the Pokemon he caught tended to be cuddle monsters. They stole most of the bed, and he washed his face before he went down. He found the third Pokemon that had shown up helping Obito cook. So who did the reissue belong to? Mouse? He was your dad's, said Obito. And the Sliveon? Also your dad's. If it wasn't for the fact that I am here now I would seriously believe that my dad was gay, or at least bi, said Naruto flatly. Seriously, who names a reissue mouse and has a fairy type evolution? Naruto held out his hand for the reissue to take, hoping it wouldn't electrocute him. Not that it would kill him, but the Kyuubi would bitch for hours if it happened. He was rather surprised when the reissue turned out to be as mousy as Hinata was before they officially started dating. Once he ate dinner, he went for a walk. It was good to be home. Naruto's first move after he was fully rested, fed, and had handed over that necklace from the old days, cleaned up by a jeweler in Moon for a discount because he ordered a few things to give to his female friends, was to find Hinata and ask her out on a date. Of course he couldn't say that out loud, seeing as how Hayashi scared the crap out of him on a good day. Which was why their first act as an official couple anywhere near Hayashi or the Hyuga elders was to prank the hell out of the Umbu. Surprising the branch members in the Hunter division were more than sympathetic once Naruto explained why he was up to his old tricks again. They didn't want this sort of information reaching Hayashi before they had an escape route handy either. Tsunade knew he would be leaving in a week anyway, so this was the kid's last big show. Naruto passed Hinata another batch of cinnamon buns which the girl graciously accepted while they watched his clone army cause havoc. Because he was leaving tomorrow, he had loaded up with as many high-level jutsu scrolls he could get his hands on, most of them from Tsunade and Jiraiya, who were high enough on the food chain to give him copies, and the promise to deduct the cost of his medical supplies from his account whenever he handed over his massive Extreme Breeders kit to Hinata for resupply. Hinata had won the game between Tsunade's students for the necklace Naruto had brought back, recognizing her as the leading healer in the village behind Shizune and Tsunade. Haku came in second place, but that was only because he had been training longer than Sakura. The two were just enjoying the peace and quiet. Yeah right, there were screams of anger and promises of revenge from nearly the entire civilian population, and they giggled at the sight of the Mightumbu running around like headless chickens complete with feathers. Naruto's peace to resistance was something he had been planning for days since he had been pranked by Kakashi in Moon Country. That 1,000 years of death hurt like a bitch, so did getting in adamantite staff form up the ass. Naruto snickered evilly. Served Kakashi right for not checking for a henge when he got the latest copy of Jiraiya's book. The copy nin never knew that Naruto had given him the Hokage's advanced signed copy, minus the spy reports, and faked being an Umbu telling Kakashi that the former Hokage needed him for something. The illusion on the cover fell off right as the copy nin went into the Hokage's room, and needless to say the former Hokage had been pissed to learn where his advanced copy had vanished to. Inside the Kyuubi was rolling in his area laughing his furry ass off. He fully believed Kakashi was to blame for not checking for a prank before accepting the anonymous gift when Naruto had been acting up again recently. So, it's tomorrow. You remember the hand signs to get into the house, Hinata? Hi, said Hinata. Naruto had her memorize the secret passage into his house since she was keyed in. Hayashi had not been happy to learn Hinata was officially dating Naruto. The elders, even less so. Some had even threatened the caged bird seal if she didn't dump Naruto. They had no idea she had Jiraiya paint the counter seal on the bottom of her foot, a place few people would think to look for it. The first hint of the seal being applied, and she was kidnapping the children of the clan and dragging them to Naruto's house. Once the branch members heard her plan, they fully backed her saying that it would ease their minds to know the elders couldn't hurt their children again. Remember Hinata, under no circumstances are you to believe you are worthless. You're much nicer than Sakura and are just as pretty as Haku is, said Naruto firmly. Hinata blushed. If Haku wasn't a fully bodied male, most people would believe him to be a girl with how pretty he was. According to reports of people who ran into the Yuki clan before it was nearly wiped out, this was a genetic trait. They were once called the living snow maidens. The two sat on top of the fourth's head. Naruto had the feeling the man would enjoy the irony that his son was have a date on his head, and simply enjoyed each other's company while the screaming finally started to fade a bit. Hinata finally made it home around 10, avoiding her father and the elders with now practiced ease. It helped that her Ditto had turned into her to draw them off. Naruto had a brand new side bag on his shoulder, with several sealed scrolls that contained all he would need for a long-term mission abroad. According to Tsunade, the original idea was to have Jiraiya take him on a training trip, but considering his habits it was probably better that he go alone and train on his own. Restoring the old technology was deemed more important than Naruto's own training, which was why the two Chunin loaded him up with so many jutsu scrolls he could use on his own time. His jutsu library was sadly lacking, since he spent far too much time just training his own team than himself. He was in the same forest where Mizuki was revealed to be a traitor. He felt that it would be symbolic, as it was here that his shinobi career truly took off. It would be here that he took his training to the next level. All those in the know who cared about him were there to see him off. His team was selected and he couldn't wait to see the one thing he had been able to beat Sasuke at. Pre-Cataclysm world, here he comes. "Bii!" cried the tiny time fairy. The forest glowed an unearthly green as Naruto vanished in a flash of light. To ensure he made it there safely, Celebi was actually working alongside Dialga and Palkia. Naruto gave his friends one last grin and a thumbs up as he faded from the present time stream and reappeared in the past. His adventure had only just begun. Naruto's first discovery was when he went to check on Shifter, only to discover that his best friend, and really, almost all of his team, had lost at least 30 levels and were rather weak. About the only ones unaffected were his Dratini Egg, Delia, and Trapper. Even Kurama had been affected, being dropped to level 10. He had traded the other Trapinch to Shino in exchange for the permission to build a bug-type habitat at his house. Those required Abarame experts to come in and make it. Still, they had kept their current forms, so it wasn't all bad. And a quick look told him all he needed to know as to why they had lost so much strength. He was in Pallet Town, an area which would later become part of Konohagakure. According to his studies, it was one of the few least hit because the hero of the Cataclysm was born and raised here. It was said that man died to a broken heart when he learned his most loyal and trustworthy ally, a simple Pikachu, would never again be brought back during his lifetime. According to legend he was given form as a Pokemon and the two were reunited in death. Naruto walked up to the biggest building, which he assumed was a Pokemon lab. He carefully knocked on the door, Shifter on his head like usual. "Gah!" came the pained cry. It sounded like someone got covered in books to his ears. Naruto came in and immediately spotted the poor researcher covered in books. A quick glance at the titles made him breathe a little easier. He could read their language. That would make communicating a hell of a lot easier. "You alright, mister?" asked Naruto slowly. "I'll be fine. Whoever knocked on the door startled me enough to knock over my research," he said, waving the boy's concerns off. Same language, check, thought Naruto. "Sorry about that. I just arrived in Pallet Town and figured this was the best place to start my Pokemon journey," said Naruto. It was only a half lie. He had started it the second he found Shifter years ago. "Well, I can get you started. Fortunately I have a spare Pokédex, but the manufacturer got the dye wrong so the cover is the wrong color," said the older man. "What color is it?" "Fire red and orange. According to my supplier they accidentally poured yellow dye in the mold and no one realized it until it was too late." "Sweet," said Naruto. He loved orange. "So young man, do you have your Pokemon or do you need a starter?" "I have Bulbasaur, Charmander, Pikachu and Squirtle." "Nah, I already have Shifter." "V," barked Shifter from Naruto's head. "Why'd you name him Shifter?" "Shifter, Moonlight." Shifter jumped off his head and in a twirl became Umbreon. A quick demonstration and he went back to EV. "Amazing. I've never seen an EV or any Pokemon go back and forth from their evolutionary forms. I found Shifter years ago. A friend who treats Pokemon, specifically canine Pokemon, told me that someone had experimented on his right out of the egg, giving him the ability to take any evolution barring those of fire, water, and electricity, though lately I have been seeing him use electric attacks. Fascinating, if a bit horrifying someone would abuse a Pokemon like that," said the man. Naruto immediately liked him because he didn't feel the need to ship Shifter off to another lab for testing. "In any case, we need to register you on the Pokédex before you get started." Name: Naruto Uzumaki. Hometown: the village hidden in the leaves, also called Konoha. Age: Naruto did a quick calculation, as he had noted that not only had his team been reduced several levels but he had also lost a few years. 10. Birthday: October 10th. The professor held up the camera on the Pokédex, which would scan the Pokemon he encountered and bring up the data. Smile for the camera, said the professor. Naruto grinned, and he heard the distinct sound of a camera shutter going off. The older of the two handed the Pokédex to Naruto. You're now registered as a trainer. You'll need at least 8 badges to compete in the championships, which are in 6 months. The Pokédex you now hold has all the data from Kanto to Johto, so it should pick up your friend's evolutionary forms, he said. Some of them I highly doubt are from Kanto or Johto, said Naruto. As he was about to leave the lab with his new Pokédex, he turned to the professor. You know I never got your name, he said. I am Professor Samuel Oak. Uzumaki Naruto, noted historian and lover of ramen, said Naruto. It's rare to see someone as young as you with a love of history. If it's about Pokemon, then it keeps my interest. Where's the nearest gym? About 20 miles that way, said Oak. Thanks. Naruto left the lab but ran into a boy with an odd necklace and a spiked hairstyle. Hey Gramps, I'm here for my Pokemon. I have it right here Blue, said Oak tiredly. He loved his grandson, but wished the boy wasn't so clinical about Pokemon. Naruto was almost at the bottom of the hill. He was trying to act like a civilian, when the boy from earlier ran up to him and offered to battle him and Shifter. Apparently he had gotten an EV from Oak and wanted to test it on Naruto and Shifter. The brat wouldn't last 5 minutes, but Naruto humored him. Ready Shifter? V. Go, EV, said Blue. Shifter, bite. EV, dodge. It was no use. Shifter's speed was simply too great and he bite the EV lightly. Even at level 5 he was still a powerhouse. Naruto was still ticked his best friend had lost 50 levels. At least he still had his ability to switch between his evolutionary forms. Shifter, use Sand Attack and follow up with Double Team. V. The younger EV became confused. It hurt itself before Blue realized this kid wasn't a joke like most trainers and he called his EV back. There was no point fighting a losing battle. You there? What's your name? Uzumaki Naruto. You know for a recently partnered EV it wasn't half bad. It just needs some experience to be really great. Humph. Just you wait Uzumaki, next time I won't lose, said Blue in a huff. He wasn't particularly happy to have his first official battle end in an obvious loss. Before you go, give your EV a spray of this, said Naruto, handing over a standard potion. Blue took it and thanked him before heading towards Viridian City. He wouldn't know how much Naruto had held back until much later. Wow, check out the size of those Pidgey. Remind you of that one Kakashi had to catch in order to get it to leave him alone, Shifter, said Naruto. V, barked Shifter. They were taking their time to Viridian when they noticed something. What's with Ho-Oh, said Naruto. Naruto raced down the hill to find a new trainer with a Pikachu. Apparently he had ticked off the Spearow flock that Naruto had quickly avoided. The Pikachu looked badly hurt too. Shifter, use Psychic. A Speon. The Spearow scattered and Naruto raced to the kid and his Pikachu. It was the same one from Oak's lab. You two okay? Yeah, what sort of Pokemon is that? This is Shifter. Here, let me see Pikachu. Naruto took out his basic kits and went to work. A quick spray of potion and a few bandages, and Pikachu was healthy enough to travel again. Naruto checked the conditions and noted the Spearow were just waiting for a chance to attack again. I don't like the look of that flock. We might as well travel to the next town together, since they look ready to attack again. My name's Ash, but you can call me Red, said Red. Uzumaki Naruto, and this is Shifter. V. Red was about to hold up his new Pokédex when a Spearow made a swooping run at them. Shifter, use Sleep Powder. Fion. Soon all the Spearow fell the ground sound asleep. V, said Shifter pleased. What was that, said Red. There's a reason his name is Shifter. I found him in behind a garbage can on day and learned he could switch between his evolved forms except those of fire, water, and electric. V. Pikachu. So Red, why did you have a collar around Pikachu's neck? It refuses to listen to me. Let's see, here's your problem. Pikachu is level 10, when most starters are level 5. You need to earn his respect first, said Naruto, checking one of the basic breeder tools. What's that thing? Pokemon level checker. So Naruto, where are you from? Konoha. Never heard of it. It's in another land, said Naruto. Which wasn't exactly true, as he was technically in Konoha, even if it wasn't called that yet. They passed a girl who was fishing for water types, and Naruto couldn't help but comment. You're not going to catch more than a Magikarp with that rod, he said. Like you would know, she snapped. Old rods like that are good for weak water types. If you really want a good one, use a good rod instead, said Naruto sensibly. I left my good rod at home, she complained. Naruto paused and looked in his bag. Here it is. You can borrow it until we run into each other again, said Naruto. Thanks. What's your name? Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha. I'm Misty of Cerulean. Oh, before I forget, there's a flock of Spearow who seems really ticked off at Red here. So when they wake up I would recommend avoiding them. Thanks for the warning, said Misty with a grimace. Nurse Joy looked over Red's Pikachu. Whoever treated it did a perfect job. He just needs some rest, she said. Thanks, said Naruto. You treated him, said Nurse Joy in shock. Naruto pulled back on his collar to reveal his breeder badge. It had 5 marks on the badge, indicating he was a level 5 breeder, pretty high for a kid barely 14. In order to compare, the levels are 1 through 10, with the highest being an X-shape mark meaning they can heal practically anything. Tsunade has an X on her badge whereas Ino is at level 1 because she isn't all that interested in being a healer. Naruto is the highest ranked breeder of his age group. That's... Where did you get it? Asked Nurse Joy. Red noticed a similar badge on her uniform. Back home we have a test for those who want to learn how to heal their own Pokemon. I took it as a joke because a friend tricked me and passed it on the first try. I recently earned my level 5 marking, said Naruto proudly. No wonder Pikachu was treated so well. A level 5 means you're a qualified Pokemon doctor, said Nurse Joy impressed. Naruto beamed proudly. He worked hard to earn those marks. No way. You're a Pokemon doctor, said Red. Actually I plan to be a trainer. I just became a doctor because I love Pokemon so much and I knew there would be times when a Pokemon center wasn't handy. Which reminds me, here are your Pokemon Naruto, said Nurse Joy. She was so telling her sisters about this new trainer. Say Naruto, how about a Pokemon battle? Get some more Pokemon and I'll consider it. Right now Pikachu is still too weak to handle Shifter or the others, especially Kurama. What sort of Pokemon do you have Naruto? How about I show you, said Naruto. He tossed his Pokemon in the air, and they came out. 9. Deli. V. Lax. You only have 4, said Red surprised. Actually I have a ton of Pokemon but only brought 4. Meet Kurama, Delia, Shifter, and Ayam. You've already met Pikachu. He looks like one of those who hates seal balls, said Naruto. Seal balls. Naruto brought out one of his weaker versions. That really looks like a Pokeball. Only the color is wrong, said Red. Of course the color is different. I paid money for this orange cover. Naruto brought out a book. See? Here's a catalog of seal ball covers. I think you mean Pokeball, said Red. Nah, they're pretty much the same thing except for how they're made. See for yourself, said Naruto. He opened one up to reveal odd drawings in an open area. Red opened his to reveal striations along the machine. See? This is a seal ball and that's a Pokeball. Seal balls aren't made of machines, but special acorns and seals. Wow. Of course they are pretty rare around Kanto. I'm probably the only one you'll meet that has them or knows how to make them, said Naruto. They had moved into the cafe area. Really? That is so cool. I'm a Pokemon historian, doctor, breeder, and trainer. When you have so many interests it's hard to keep track of them all. So are you planning to be a professor like Professor Oak? Maybe later. Right now I just want to enjoy my Pokemon journey, said Naruto. He suddenly remembered something. Hang on a sec. I forgot to ask Nurse Joy something, said Naruto, snapping his fingers. You need the blueprints for our Pokemon healing machines, said Nurse Joy. Yeah, back home we don't even have them. All healers have to learn how to do things by hand, so I was hoping you knew where I could get the blueprints, or even an older model. We don't have the blueprints, but I can give you the last catalog for the machines. You'll have to save in order to get one for your home though, said Nurse Joy. That's okay. I'm good at saving up, said Naruto. Naruto decided to stay at the Pokemon Center for the night. He was having too much fun wandering around the past. He spent an hour looking at the Pokemon healing machines and hoped that he could put them in a sealing scroll. Jiraiya had really helped out by leaving all those books on the subject. Naruto was one of the few people in his village able to make their own seal balls. Of course he had to learn the trick to hollow out the acorns in a way that didn't ruin them. Took him months to pull that off. As he was about to drift off to sleep, he heard a crash. What the heck? Naruto ran out to find a talking Meowth. Hey! Put those Pokeballs back right now, shouted Red. What's going on? Asked Naruto. These creeps are stealing all the Pokemon. Seriously? This is one of the first town's new trainers hit. What are they expecting to find, Gengar? Said Naruto unimpressed. The Meowth sweat dropped. The kid had a point. The most they would get were some fairly common types like Rattata or Pidgey. Then he spotted the EV on the kid's head. Jesse, James, take a look at that EV, said Meowth. They shot a net at Shifter, and grabbed it. It was too tough for rookie Pokemon, but not for Shifter. Shifter, use Bite. Shifter's tough teeth bit through the ropes with perfect ease. Shifter, use Razor Leaf. Leafeon. The nets that held the Pokemon fell apart in the onslaught. Shifter looked smug. V. Now Shifter, use Psybeam. A blast of psychic energy hit the thieves, sending them flying. Wow Naruto, how did your EV do that? Asked Red. Nurse Joy was just as shocked. A friend of mine told me when I first found him that Shifter had been experimented on right out of the egg. He's one of a kind, said Naruto, holding out his arms for Shifter. V, cried Shifter, running up and taking his usual perch on Naruto's head. Like some common thief would be able to beat Shifter and me, said Naruto proudly. Now I really want to battle you, said Red. Like I said before, get some training in first, said Naruto grinning. Naruto split off from Red in the forest. He needed to retrain his team now that they had lost so many levels. And the forest area was his specialty. Alright Shifter, use Razor Leaf on those acorns. Ayam collect them. Leafeon. Munchlax. The two worked as a cohesive team cutting down ripe acorns while Ayam collected them using its special ability pickup. Good job guys, said Naruto. He put all the acorns in a seal for later. Unfortunately his acorn collecting attracted the ire of an entire hive of Beedrill. Shifter accidentally knocked a Kakuna off the tree. Kurama, flamethrower, said Naruto. 9. The blast of flames knocked the Beedrill out with a single hit. Not bad for a kid, said a voice behind him. Naruto turned to find a samurai? But the size of your Ninetales tells me you evolved it almost immediately, said the samurai. Actually I waited, but there was a small problem and he ended up like this, admitted Naruto. So why are you collecting acorns? Hobby of mine, plus it saves on Pokeballs. How so? How about a battle? Win and I'll tell ya, said Naruto. You're on. Go Butterfree. I choose you, Ayam. Munchlax. What's that? Asked the samurai kid, whose name turned out to be Greg. Munchlax is the baby form of Snorlax, said Naruto. Butterfree, poison powder. Ayam, use double team. Lax. Butterfree, gust. Ayam, use bite. Lax. Free. Butterfree was knocked out by the force of the attack. Butterfree. Return. Ready when you are, said Naruto grinning. Lost levels or not, he was still a strong trainer. Grr. Go Scyther. Kurama, it's your turn. Ninetales. Scyther, X Scissor. Kurama, Iron Tail. 9. Kurama avoided the attack and quickly hit the Scyther with the steel attack. It only took one hit. Impossible. A weak Pokemon like that shouldn't be able to hurt Scyther. Just because his level is low doesn't mean he's weak, said Naruto proudly. Scyther, cried Greg. He okay? Asked Naruto. He's hurt. Naruto grabbed his bag and immediately checked on Scyther. He was pretty badly hurt. His wing was bent a little. Hold him still. Shifter, get me some splints. V. Shifter returned with some sturdy branches. Naruto went to work healing Scyther. The damage wasn't too bad, but it required immediate attention. Even missing over 30 levels, his team had been trained to incapacitate or kill. It took nearly an hour, but eventually Scyther was fine. Keep him from battling for a week, and he should be fine. How do you know so much? Asked Greg. I love Pokemon so much that I learned to heal them in the event a Pokemon Center wasn't around. The irony is that I always wanted to be a trainer and not a healer. With a team like that, I bet you could beat Brock easily. What type does he use? Rock Pokemon, said Greg. Yeah, I can kick his ass then. Naruto wasn't the least bit surprised that news of the fact he was a level 5 healer to spread among the Nurse Joy community. He left his Pokemon at the center and went for a walk. He knew they would be fine. After all, seal balls were designed so that if anything happened to their partners, the Pokemon could escape without much trouble. Unlike Pokeballs, seal balls were designed so that Pokemon could come and go between their containers without any input of the trainer whatsoever. Sometimes Shinobi needed to bring their partner out without alerting the enemy. His first stop was the bookstore for history books. The look of shock on the clerk's face when he saw the amount of history and biology for the 10-year-old trainers list, well, Naruto had the urge to grab a camera. It was so funny. Seeing the same kid put them all in a single scroll was even more hilarious. Naruto then went out for lunch and got an ice cream, which was damn near impossible to get in Konoha due to the heat. It was impossible for anyone in Suna. By the time night fell, Naruto was in his happy place. He just had to do a single battle tomorrow and he could have fun. As usual, his entire team crowded in the bed and made it extremely difficult to move. The fact he didn't try to kick them off was just another reason his team loved him. So far Naruto was absolutely in love with the past, despite the awful smell of the machines. Naruto took a deep breath, adjusted his Chunin vest, and went in. Shifter was on his head and ready to surprise everyone. "Hello. Come here to challenge the gym leader?" asked a teen. "Yup. My first time in Kanto, so I decided to do a gym crawl," said Naruto. The teen laughed, and said, "Why don't we get started then?" A referee immediately came out of the corner office and got into the center box just outside the arena. The teen who greeted him got into the box on the other side of the fighting zone. Naruto took the hint and walked into the one closest to the door. Challenger may switch out and use items. This will be a 2-on-2 battle. Go Onyx. That's a big one. In that case, I counter your Onyx with Shifter. Go get him, buddy. V, said Shifter, jumping off his head and standing proudly in the ring. Begin. Shifter, use Dig, said Naruto gleefully. This was going to be fun. V, said the tiny Pokemon as it dug deep into the slightly rocky soil in the arena, essentially hiding from sight. Onyx, Dig, said Brock. The rock snake Pokemon dove into the ground, creating a larger hole than Shifter ever could. Shifter, use Nightshade. Brock could hear the pained cry of Onyx as it was hit underground. The rock snake was quick to leave the ground after that hit. Shifter, Razor Leaf. A large storm of leaves came out of the hole and hit Onyx, who cried again. Out of the hole popped Shifter in Leafian form. Brock was naturally surprised when the Leafian shook off the excess dirt and went back to being an EV. What the? Shifter was altered almost right out of the egg. He can take almost any of his evolved forms except the original 3 discovered in the Kanto region. Well, that just makes it more interesting, said Brock with a grin. Certainly explained why he had sent out a normal type. Shifter, use Ice Beam. Glacian. The icy beam froze Onyx completely, giving him a FRZ status. Onyx is unable to battle, declared the ref. Way to go, Shifter. V. Not bad, for a kid who wears a lot of orange. Go, Dude. Come on out, Trapper. Pinch. What is that? Said Brock. Trapinch, the ant pit Pokemon. Its nest is slopped so that when caught its prey cannot escape, said Naruto smugly. He had caught it for one reason, and one reason only. He wanted a Flygon on his team. Trapper was the only one not really affected by the sudden drop in levels. Trapper, time to show what you're made of, said Naruto. Pinch. Dude, use Rock Throw. Brick Break, shouted Naruto. He was having a lot of fun. Trapper's mouth shattered the rocks with ease. It was a bit of a joke among his friends that all of Naruto's Pokemon tended to have the power to destroy rocks with their teeth, if they had them. Trapper, use Sand Tomb. Pinch. Trapper dug through the dirt like a drill burr on a mission. Dude floated down to try and grab it, but ended up caught between Trapper's teeth. Trapper, use Gust. Trapinch. Trapper sent Dude flying. Geo. Dude. Dude is unable to battle. Winner is Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha. Way to go, Trapper. Pinch. I'm impressed. I wasn't expecting a ground-type Pokemon to know a flying-type move, said Brock. Egg move, said Naruto. I found out that Trapper had that after I caught him, and when I asked my teacher, she said that it must have inherited it from his parents. They call those egg moves, shrugged Naruto. Then he remembered something. Bring out your onyx for a minute. Why? So I can remove the frozen status. A rock/ground type that's been frozen can be hurt if it stays like that too long. I didn't know that. Yeah, the frost chips away at the rock and makes ground harder to move, said Naruto. He sprayed the ice heal on Onyx, and the rock snake was able to breathe easier. Once his team was healed, and Brock handed him his first official badge, Naruto headed towards Cerulean City for his next. Naruto was about to go to sleep when he heard the cackling. He left the hollow of the tree he had found to find the trio of idiots that attacked the Pokemon Center. Naruto completely ignored them, assuming they were talking to someone, until they said, "We're here for your EV, so hand it over." "Not a chance in hell," said Naruto yawning. The purple-haired one used some sort of net to grab Shifter, who was just as sleepy as his partner. "Shifter, use Bite to escape and Psybeam to get rid of them." The net. "Spawn," cried Shifter as he switched to psychic form to blast the trio away. "We're blasting off again," they screamed as the blast sent them flying. "Really, who the hell harasses a shinobi when he's trying to sleep for the night?" yawned Naruto. Naruto was making his way through the cave, occasionally picking up shiny rocks off the ground out of boredom. He ignored the Zubat flying overhead, they were more of a nuisance than most. He was about halfway through the cave when he came across another trainer. The guy was jealously guarding something behind it. He was so paranoid that Naruto couldn't even get a look at it. "Hey, what's up? You can't have my treasure," shrieked the boy. "Treasure? Why would I care about stealing your treasure? Go Zubat." "You know what, I don't even care anymore." Ayam, Zen headbutt. Lax. Ayam hit the Zubat with more force than necessary. "Zubat. Grr, go Guedud." "Ayam, Ice Beam," said Naruto bored. "Dude. No. Guedud." Before the kid could get out a third Pokemon, Naruto did the only sensible thing. He calmly walked up to the kid, and bitch slapped him. "Take a deep breath and calm down," advised Naruto. The kid was so startled by the slap that he followed the advice without question. Once he had taken a few deep breaths, he was able to think rationally again. "Sorry about that," said the kid. "What got you so worked up to begin with?" "I kinda got lost looking for fossils, and some jerks tried to steal the two I found. That Guedud and Zubat I just used are the only Pokemon still able to fight, the rest are too tired," he explained. "Let's find a place to rest, and I'll see what I can do about your team," said Naruto. To be honest, he was already really bored walking through the cave. "You have supplies. More than that, I'm a registered Pokemon doctor. I can heal your team back to perfect health," said Naruto. "My name's Chip." "Naruto? So you like fossils?" "Yeah. I planned to come here and hopefully find a few and take them to Cinnabar Island and have them revived." "They can revive Pokemon fossils?" "Yeah. Only the serious hunters know about it though. The technology is still a bit wonky from what I hear," said Chip. "Cool. By the way, your Krabby is fully healed. Looks like in a couple more levels he'll evolve. Your Sandshrew is fine as well, he looks like he'll evolve in another 5 levels. Guedud and Zubat are healthy. Just a little tired. Thanks. How do you know so much anyway? Shifter here is my best friend, has been since I found him. I wanted to make sure he got the best care possible, so I took up learning how to treat Pokemon as a hobby. Wasn't until someone took notice of my talent that I was properly trained. I rank higher than most Nurse Joyce. Thanks for healing my team. I thought I was going to lose Crusher," said Chip. "There is no Pokemon not worth saving. Besides, if I had left you the way we're acting, you could have gotten really hurt," said Naruto, stirring the pot. He had broken out his rations and started cooking dinner, as it was clear Chip hadn't seen a good meal in at least a week. At least he wasn't dehydrated. Naruto helped Chip out of the cave, having filled up his bag with stones. In the light of day, Chip finally got a look at what Naruto kept picking up. "No way. You were picking up moonstones. How did you even know what they were?" said Chip. Naruto chuckled. "Iruka-sensei always said I had the pickup ability," said Naruto. Naruto handed him 10 stones. Chip handed him a Kabuto fossil he found earlier that week. The two parted at the base of the mountain, having spent far too long inside to want to venture in again. Naruto was very disappointed in the Cerulean gym. The girls seemed more like Sakura than he would have liked. He didn't even have to use Shifter to beat them. Ayam did all the work. He was about to leave the bookstore, his first stop either before or after a battle, when he noticed a glow from his bag. Only one thing had that distinct glow. Naruto quickly paid for his purchases before he headed to the park. He released his team so they could join him and took out the jar containing the Dratini egg. It was hatching. Dratini. Dratini was about 5 feet long, and bright orange. It had a pale cream belly and bright blue eyes. It even had a crescent-shaped birthmark next to its right eye. I think I'll call you Tsuki-chan, for the birthmark, said Naruto. He pulled out several colors. Pick which color you want for your seal ball, said Naruto. Tsuki slithered up to a fire orange color. Naruto held out a seal ball and placed the fire orange cover on it. Dratini touched the kanji covered button, and vanished into the ball. No way. An orange Dratini, said a familiar voice. Hey, how did that rod work for you? Asked Naruto. It was Misty. It worked great. Thanks to you I was able to get a Goldeen. Glad to hear it. By the way, was that really an orange Dratini? The technical term is shiny Dratini. I got it from a friend who breeds them, said Naruto. Shiny? Asked Misty. A shiny Pokemon is one that looks slightly different or has a special characteristic. Like say lighter or odd coloring, or their size being different. Because she was just hatched, she didn't show the characteristic stars that usually show up when you see one, said Naruto. Wow. You sure know a lot about Pokemon, said Misty. I'm a Pokemon historian and a registered Pokemon doctor. So why do you use such weird Pokeballs? Asked Misty. She had noted that earlier, but hadn't had time to ask. They aren't Pokeballs. They're seal balls. Where I come from, Pokeballs are nearly impossible to get, so we developed what we call seal balls, which work exactly like a Pokeball does. Saves on money, but the main problem is finding the right acorns to use. Can you show me? Asked Misty. Sure. As Shifter and the other Pokemon munched on lunch, Naruto took out an acorn from the forest and shelled it out. Shifter swiped the inside of the acorn before the other Pokemon could. Pokemon love the inside of acorns, particularly Naruto's Pokemon. He has a habit of leaving the acorns around so they tend to eat them up like treats. He pulled out a brush, and began painting the seals on the inside with the tiny brush. It began to expand and he deftly shaped the glowing acorn into a ball form. Once it stopped growing, Naruto painted the inside and outside again. He finished it off with a single kanji on the button. And that is the way seal balls are made. Wow, said Misty. Of course I only recently learned how to make my own. It took me months to get it good enough for my teachers to accept it. And the weird coloring on the balls? Asked Misty. Seal covers. Once you reach a certain rank you can buy them to individualize the balls. Wow, how do you make those? They don't actually do anything. They're mostly a cover to change the colors, said Naruto. Got any blue and sea green ones? I'll battle you for them, said Misty. Sure. Can't be any more disappointing than the gym battle I just had, said Naruto. You challenged my sisters earlier, didn't you? Yeah, it was kinda sad. Well, today is your lucky day. Since my sisters don't really like to battle, why don't you have a rematch with me? If you win, then your gym badge won't have an air of disappointment to it. You're on, said Naruto. Misty of Cerulean versus Naruto of Konoha. Begin, yelled the ref. Go, Kurama. 9. Wow, a Ninetales. Don't get them very often. Go Sturyu, said Misty. The starfish Pokemon spun around the water. Kurama, Will-O-Wisp, said Naruto. 9 flames appeared on Kurama's tails, and they hit Sturyu. It gained the burn status. Hang in there Sturyu. Sturyu, use water gun, shouted Misty. Kurama, use ember, and turn it into steam, said Naruto. 9. Steam filled the air as ember matched water gun blow for blow. No way. How strong is that fox, said Misty. Kurama is a Pokemon that I've raised from the egg. I trust him completely to watch my back. Now Kurama, sunny day. The sun began to shine as if it were high noon above the stadium. Huh. Never mind, Sturyu, hydro pump. Kurama, use protect. 9. A shield appeared and blocked the hit. Now Kurama, solar beam, said Naruto. 9. The solar beam hit Sturyu so hard that it crashed into the wall and passed out. No way. How can a fire type use a grass move? And without having to charge it? Naruto pointed at the sky above. Sunny day, when used in conjunction with Solar Beam, cuts down the charge time for it quite a bit. It also boosts fire-type moves, said Naruto. Not bad. Now go, Starmie. Kurama, return. Go, Delia, said Naruto. Delibird. Delibird? What kind of Pokemon is that? A Johto Pokemon, said Naruto. Starmie, use water gun. Delia, icy wind. The water gun froze solid and crashed into the water with a splash. Delia, present. The Delibird presented a bag to Starmie. Starmie opened it, very confused, only for it to blow up. What the heck? Delibird's best attack is present, which can both harm or heal a Pokemon, said Naruto. Starmie, Hydro Pump. Delia, use Aerial Ace. Deli. Star, yelped Starmie. Delia, use Icy Wind. Starmie was frozen by the ice-cold wind. Starmie is unable to battle. Winner is Naruto from Konoha. Starmie, cried Misty. Hang on. I can treat them long enough for you to get to the Pokemon Center, said Naruto. Thanks for the battle, Misty. It totally made up for the gym fight before, said Naruto. He handed her 6 blue and green covers. Are these the covers you talked about? Asked Misty. Yup. I have all the colors, but I like orange and bright colors best. You can have these for yours, said Naruto. Thanks, Naruto. Maybe we can battle again later, said Misty. You bet, said Naruto, grinning. Naruto made a stop before heading towards his next battle. He grabbed a scroll and brush and wrote his report. He had to send his report on the past soon, which meant either Obito or Hinata would be showing up soon. It took him most of the day, during which time his shadow clones trained using jutsu or the Pokemon attack combos he knew. Keep it down, yelled Naruto after a particularly loud explosion. Sorry, shouted the other clones. Finally. Done, said Naruto in relief. He got his camp ready for the night as he prepared for visitors. Biii. OMPH, said Hinata. Hey Hinata. Want some dinner? Asked Naruto. Sure, Naruto-kun. Alright guys, time to eat, yelled Naruto. Everyone came in for dinner, including Hinata's Pokemon. So what have you found, Naruto? First off, I have a catalog of the healing machines. Can you take it back to Tsunade-sensei to pick one? Also, I've managed to collect 2 badges from the gyms here, said Naruto. What about the Pokemon? This is Kanto region. Not much to pick from this early on. I did buy a set of Pokeballs for the researchers to look at. The medicine appears to be almost the same as the ones we use, said Naruto. Hinata took the scroll from Naruto, along with the sealed items. Once she finished her dinner, she gave Naruto a quick kiss before she went back to their time. She did, however, leave Digit behind while she took Delia back. She would be borrowing Delia for a while as a messenger. She needed the Delibird to make deliveries for Naruto's book series. He had been working on it before bed, he had plenty of new material now. Ugh, more caves, said Naruto. Pori. Sorry I didn't bring you with me earlier, said Naruto. Gone. Well Digit, let's head out. Porygon. Eevee. Hey, wait up, yelled a familiar voice. Hey Red. Hey Naruto. I was hoping to meet up with you again. How about a Pokemon battle? Sure. Who do you want to fight first, Shifter or Digit? Digit, said Red. Porygon. Red, this is Digit. Don't let his looks fool ya, he's stronger than he appears. Red took out his Pokédex and aimed it at Digit. Porygon, the virtual Pokemon. Porygon is a man-made Pokemon. Since it doesn't need to breathe, scientists are eager to test it out in space. That's awesome. Where did you get him? Game Corner. My absurd luck makes getting Pokemon from those places really easy. So, about that battle, said Red hopefully. Naruto grinned. Go Kurama. Go Pikachu. Kurama, sunny day. 9. Man, that sun is strong. Pikachu, thunder shock. Kurama, dodge and use solar beam. What? Chew. Said Pikachu, having fainted. No way. How can a fire type like Ninetales use a grass type move like solar beam? TMs. Took me forever to save up for solar beam. I'm not done yet. Go Bulbasaur. Kurama, return. Go Ayam. Munch. What's that? My Pokédex doesn't have it in here, said Red in confusion. Munchlax, the primary form of Snorlax. The reason you don't have it is because that's a Kanto region Pokédex and Munchlax is Johto. Cool. Bulbasaur, Solar Beam. Ayam, use Ice Beam. The two clashed into a beautiful colored block of ice. Bulbasaur, use Razor Leaf. Ayam, use Stockpile. Bulbasaur, Vine Whip. Ayam, Spit Up. Bulbasaur. Way to go Ayam, said Naruto. He gave his Pokemon a high five. So imagine his surprise when Ayam started to glow. Snorlax Snur. Alright, you evolved, said Naruto. He gave Ayam a big bag of acorn cookies, and got a bone-cracking bear hug in return. What are those? Acorn cookies. People like me who make their own seal balls tend to use the insides of the acorns to make treats for Pokemon, who can't get enough. Here, give Pikachu one, said Naruto. Pika, said Pikachu, who absolutely loved the cookie. You're a great trainer Naruto. Thanks Red. It helps that I've been training longer than you have, said Naruto. He healed Bulbasaur and Pikachu for Red. You heading to the next gym? Yeah, but I'm so not looking forward to that cave. Zubat are a nuisance. How about we go in together? What's the next town? Lavender Town is right outside the cave, said Red. Lavender Town. The one with the Pokemon cemetery, said Naruto. What's the matter with you? I'm not a big fan of ghosts. I can handle ghost-type Pokemon, but ghosts freak me out. Red barely resisted the urge to snicker. Naruto was shaking like a leaf when they left the cave. He was not a happy camper, not one bit. Red was just glad his team was primed and ready for action, as Naruto had healed them after each battle. Man, all I want is to sleep in a bed that doesn't move, said Naruto. Ayam was the perfect bed when you didn't want to sleep on the ground. Plus it really limited the amount of cuddle bugs. Red had laughed himself silly when he found out Naruto let his Pokemon snuggle up with him at night. Which explained why Naruto had such a strong bond with all of his Pokemon. He treated them like family. Naruto had Kurama next to him while Shifter took a nap in the pack. It was big enough for the tiny dog to snooze without being bothered. Naruto and Red made it through the dense fog to find a town full of rather unfriendly people. They both headed straight for the Pokemon Center to book a room and take a nice hot shower. Water jutsu were great for things like that, but they were impossible to use in a cave and Naruto only knew a few really destructive ones. Naruto crashed into the soft bed, with most of Pokemon snoozing next to him. Ayam was too big for that now, but she still crashed next to the bed. Naruto gave her one of his pillows. So there's something wrong with the tower, said Naruto. Yeah. No one's been able to go in for over a week, and the locals have been really unhappy about it, said Red. Just what I need, a mystery in a tower full of ghost Pokemon, said Naruto. He really didn't want to go in. He really didn't want to go near the place. But his sense of honor refused to let it go. So he grabbed his golden jewel and put it next to Digit. Digit, can you call Obito or Hinata and see if one of them is available? Pari. Obito here, how did you pull this off Naruto? I was just passing by the house transfer system and you popped up. I'll tell you later. Quick question, what are your feelings about ghost Pokemon? Count me out. I can't stand ghosts. Jiraiya used to freak us out when Minato-sensei wasn't available and he gave us a healthy dose of fear for ghosts and ghost Pokemon. Damn. Is Hinata available? She just got back from a mission, I'll go ask her, said Obito. He dashed off the screen and 10 minutes later Hinata appeared. What's up Naruto-kun? How do you feel about ghosts or ghost Pokemon? I don't really mind them actually. Good, you free for a bit? Naruto asked with puppy dog eyes. He really didn't want to go with only Red for company. Wait a few hours, I'll head your way, giggled Hinata. She knew Naruto hated ghosts. Hinata-chan, said Naruto. Hello, Naruto-kun. You must be Red, said Hinata. Hi. Naruto, who is she? Asked Red. Red, meet Hinata-chan, my girlfriend. Hinata, this is Red and Pikachu. It's nice to meet you, she said with a slight bow. I guess we can't put this off any longer, let's go, said Naruto, trying not to cry. He hated ghosts. Naruto-kun, the area is filled with ghastly and haunter. I can see at least 3 Jengar 2 floors above us, and there's one human with a Charmeleon on the next floor, said Hinata. The fog was so thick that Red didn't notice her Byakugan active. Let's head on up then, said Naruto miserably. AAGH, cried Naruto 5 minutes later. Hinata giggled. Poor Naruto attracted Pokemon like a magnet. And that Ghastly seemed to sense his unease. Wah, that's Blue. But there's something weird about him, said Red. He's under a hypnosis, said Naruto. He would recognize those signs anywhere. Emil, use Thunder Shock, said Hinata. Emolga, said Emil. When did you catch that one? Asked Naruto. Your Pokemon magnetism seems to linger on people you like. The electric attack hit Blue square on, but had little effect. It wasn't strong enough. My turn. Pikachu, Thunderbolt. Chuyu. Ga. Char. That did the trick. Good job Pikachu, said Naruto, infinitely more cheerful now. Seeing someone else on the other end of crappy karma always cheered him up. Chew. What the heck, said Blue. Somehow you got put under hypnosis. The fastest way to break it was a shock to the system, said Naruto. That bastard, I'm going to kill him, snarled Blue. Who? Asked Red. That man. Growled Blue. They headed up the tower, Naruto and Hinata treated Charmeleon, and finally landed on the top floor. Naruto and Hinata both face-palmed when they saw what the culprit was wearing. It's a ninja throwback. Who the hell is he kidding wearing that, said Naruto. No one wears those tacky clothes, even Guy has better fashion sense, and that's saying something. Said Hinata. What's with you two? Asked Red. Real shinobi don't wear such cliché clothing, not unless they want to look like lame throwbacks. And those that do are never taken seriously, explained Naruto. Hinata nodded in agreement. Fishnets were still used, but only because they usually had properties to make them more durable. Wearing what this guy had on practically screamed that you were playing at being a shinobi. Arbok, use Poison Sting. Kurama, Flamethrower, said Naruto shaking his head. 9. Naruto looked upset as the flamethrower charbroiled the Arbok. He hated killing Pokemon. The ninja throwback sneered at them before he escaped. It's really hard to take guys like that seriously, said Naruto with a shrug. That guy is the leader of the Fuchsia City Gym, said Blue with rage. You're kidding, right? That throwback is a gym leader, said Naruto. Gah. Not again, shouted Naruto. Yet another lick attack, he hated those. Hinata giggled, and heard something behind them. Otome, use Psychic, said Hinata. Kurla. A Misdrevious appeared from behind Naruto. Hinata tossed a seal ball and caught it. What was that? Asked Blue. Misdrevious. They feed on fear, and Naruto is just a great target because he really hates ghosts, said Hinata giggling. That does it. Time for drastic measures, said Naruto. What drastic measures? Asked Red. Naruto brandished a flute and began playing oration. The fog began to clear as the ghost Pokemon floated around him. What is he doing? Getting their attention with music, said Hinata. What's that song he's playing? Asked Blue. He said it's called oration, which means prayer in the old language. Naruto has a bunch of hobbies, but his most well-known ones are music, history, and recently making seal balls. Seal balls, said Blue. Seal balls are what we use instead of pokeballs. They're really hard to come by in our hometown, explained Hinata. When they exited the tower, Naruto stopped playing. I love Pokemon, but I hate it when ghost Pokemon pick on me, he complained. Hinata giggled at his expense. She left once the other two boys went on their own way. Poor Naruto and his ghost problem. Naruto was on his way to the next gym when he found a Pokemon egg. It was in an abandoned nest. You poor thing, said Naruto, picking up the egg. It was bright yellow. He could tell from the chakra inside it that the Pokemon was still alive. He couldn't find the parents anywhere. There was, however, suspicious blood around it. Don't worry, little one. I'll protect you from now on, said Naruto. He put it into his bag. So this is Celadon City. Time to make some cash, said Naruto grinning evilly. Celadon was noted to have a rather large game corner as well as a Pokemon mall. He had Hinata order several hundred seal ball covers to make a quick buck. With his rank, they were very cheap to come by, but most shinobi didn't bother to order them in bulk because they usually just had the ones for their personal team. Misty's reaction to being able to color-code her Pokeballs had given Naruto a very profitable idea to earn enough cash to buy the healing machines. Come one, come all. Color-code your Pokeballs with these specialized covers. Guaranteed to stay on in almost any conditions, said Naruto. He had his clones hung to look like different people to get attention by pretending to buy covers and applying them onto the Pokeballs. How interesting, said a female voice. She looked really pretty, and was wearing a kimono. She also smelled like plants. Naruto relaxed around her. Care for a Pokeball cover? Guaranteed to stay on in most ordinary conditions. Do you have any leaf green ones? She asked. Naruto pulled out the box with the kanji for green. He then pulled out another which had a specific shade. I only have 10 of each color, he told her. In that case, I would like to buy your leaf green and grass colored ones. Grass type trainer, right, said Naruto knowingly. How did you know? There are 2 types of people who generally buy out the stock of a particular color. There's people like me, who love a particular color and wish to express themselves, and there are the specialists. Specialists generally stick to one elemental type of Pokemon, and their covers reflect it. Which is why when you picked 2 specific green covers which had plant names, I can tell you are a grass type trainer. Plus you have the distinct scent of powders which grass types specialize in, he added as an afterthought. You're very good. You are correct, I specialize in grass Pokemon. My name is Erika, what's yours? Uzumaki Naruto, historian, musician, doctor, trainer, said Naruto with a grin. So many occupations. Wait, did you say doctor? Blinked Erika. Naruto showed off his breeder's badge, complete with the 5 markings. Level 5 Pokemon Healer, at your service. Most Nurse Joys barely rank a level 3, and the qualifications for doctor are level 4 or higher. I love Pokemon so much I took up healing on my spare time, said Naruto. I think I would have heard of a healer as young as you, said Erika, accepting the covers. My village is pretty remote. The one who runs it is a level X healer, and she took me and a few others on as apprentices. I was sent out to get some proper equipment, since we don't have any of the fancy machines like they do around the other areas, said Naruto. You mean you learned how to heal Pokemon, without the aid of machines, she said startled. Where I come from, we learn how to heal with our own skills, not a fancy machine. The problem is that it limits the availability of Pokemon to those who work with them. Regular people have real difficulty even having one as a pet, said Naruto. So you're trying to earn enough money to send machines home, said Erika. Yeah. If we had those, then everyone would be able to have one, even little kids. I like your dedication to your home, Naruto-san, said Erika with a smile. Naruto grinned, and continued selling the Pokeball covers. He noted that after his talk with Erika, the number of people coming to buy them jumped up quite a bit. The only reason he could think of why was that Erika was a gym leader. Well, it helped his cause to make Pokemon available to everyone again, so he wasn't complaining.